we're going to go ahead and talk more about those 2 tornado warnings that are currently in effect. So here we go. So this is a look at the larger scale presentation as we have this whole line that really is merging together. We have a pretty large complex of storms that are moving through the area here right now. So we have 2 tornado warnings that are currently in effect. We have the one that we've been talking about here for quite a while now. This now has been extended to include all of central and southern Steele counties. This goes until just after 7:15, so that's the old warning. This new warning going until 7:45, so this includes the cities of Blooming Prairie, Ellendale, Somerset, and Summit. So if you live in these areas, if you live in Steele County, south of US Highway 14, you need to take your tornado precautions right now. While that's happening, we also have another tornado warning. This one goes until 7:30, so we have about another 15 minutes on this storm. This is moving towards the south and east at about 20 to 25 miles per hour. This includes the city of Wells. This also includes far western portions of Freeborn County near the city of Alden. So if you live in Alden, this storm is heading your way. If you live in Wells, it's already there with some very heavy rainfall, and the circulation is only just a few miles west of the city of Wells right now, just north of Interstate 90. And what we're kind of watching is basically this area where we have the red. That's the outflow from the thunderstorm going next to the green, which is the inflow. But one thing that we're starting to see is, versus just a little circulation right now, we're starting to see more of this storm being a little bit more, trying to produce some outflow, if you will. We're kind of seeing a lot of different things happening. We have a little bit of a circulation, but we also have an area where we're starting to see a little bit more wind pushing out from the thunderstorm, and that could mean that we, likely are seeing that change from a higher tornado threat to a higher threat for some greater wind gusts. So, Sarah, if you want to talk about that, Sarah, I don't know if you have your microphone on, if you have noticed anything from the National Weather Service, but if you notice anything else about that circulation. But I do think it's starting to see a little bit more outflow, if you will.
A little bit, yeah. You can tell by, like Aaron drew with the arrows here, a little bit of that shape. So we can take those off so it's not too much on the screen now at once. But the shape of it isn't looking quite as tight as the previous runs have when it comes to that rotation. That still being the case, that doesn't necessarily mean that anything has broken out. We're still unsure, if that tornado is on the ground, if there is one. Still keeping an eye on anything that may be coming from the National Weather Service here as I take just a quick peek. Just a reminder, we actually work with 3 different National Weather Service offices. We're talking the Twin Cities, Des Moines, and La Crosse. So kind of just seeing what they're all saying here. And it looks like it's just keeping up with those warnings, nothing new. Strong thunderstorms, yep, that's no doubt that we're seeing some of those. But just a reminder, yes, if you're joining us, we've got 2 separate tornado warnings here showing signs of rotation, just not quite as tight. There we go. There's Aaron. Yeah. Hey there, Aaron. Welcome back.
Excuse me. Yeah. Just a lot of things that are happening here right now. As Sarah was mentioning, we're tracking this larger complex stretching from near Owatonna with that tornado warning just south of the city, including southern portions of Steele County into northern Freeborn County. This other one going to be moving into western parts of Freeborn County and going to be affecting the city of Albert Lea here in probably the next 30 minutes or so. And Sarah, I don't know if you if you can load up the Albert Lea Live Eye there on our computer just to kind of see the perspective from downtown. So our live camera that we have in Albert Lea is situated in downtown. And looking towards the north and west here as we get it loaded up, you're likely going to see, kind of a darker sky there. Here looks a little bit different than what we were looking at a little bit earlier as we're starting to see that storm getting fairly close to the city now. And what we're going to be talking about first is going to be the heavier rain moving in, and then that's going to be followed up by potential for some larger hail and some gustier winds. Now, we're not saying that there's an immediate tornado threat for the city, but there is a tornado warning just west of the city right now, and it does bear watching. If you live in Albert Lea, start thinking about what you're going to do should a tornado warning get issued. But right now, as we're looking towards that storm and now looking towards the east a little bit, we're still seeing some darker skies all over the city. But at least for right now, we're not seeing too much happening in the city of Albert Lea, which is good news. But again, that storm is on your doorstep, and it will be here in about the next 30 to 45 minutes. So I'm going to switch back over to the radar picture. Again, the time is now 7:19 here on our Monday evening, and we are in live tornado coverage here on KIMT News 3. We've been on here for about the last half an hour, just a little bit over that, as we've had multiple tornado warnings issued for southern Minnesota, and we're going to continue to follow this here as we go through the next 30 to 45 minutes. So we have a tornado warning. Again, this is a tornado warning. You can see there that includes Blooming Prairie, Ellendale. It also includes Somerset and Summit. This tornado warning is until 7:45. So we still have another just under half an hour on this one tornado warning. We also are tracking another tornado warning to the south and west. And what we're kind of watching here is also behind the storm on the backside. We may be getting some other circulations developing here, but really starting to see some indications that these are producing a bit more outflow, winds gusting out of the thunderstorm, and that's changing it from that threat for tornadoes to a threat for some higher wind gusts. Now, that's good news, bad news. Good news in terms of now a higher threat for tornadoes, but bad news, we're seeing the threat for some higher wind gusts that, again, are also going to cause some pretty big issues.
Yeah, and I think it's worth noting that the one that we're looking at right here, the tornado warning that's over Ellendale and Blooming Prairie, portions of Summit, this one, this one did produce a tornado. This was a confirmed tornado. Now, as it has moved further to the east, there has not been a further confirmation of a tornado. However, the system itself is still capable of producing a tornado, thus still a tornado-warned storm.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, and exactly true. I mean, we've had, those confirmations of tornadoes. We're still seeing circulation. We're still seeing indications that there could be a tornado on the ground, but we're waiting for storm spotters with any newer updates. Again, weather's always changing, so the storm is evolving, and it will, cause the tornado that was on the ground to dissipate, but that's not to say another tornado couldn't develop in the next short while. But looking at the reports, these are the only reports that we have for any confirmed tornadoes. This is that confirmed tornado that we've been talking about here south of Janesville. Another tornado confirmed. This is in northwestern parts of Faribault County. And then earlier, just around the 6 o'clock hour, we also had a tornado that was confirmed north of St. James. But this one near the city of Winnebago, that was confirmed right around 6:30. Again, another one just around 5:30. And looks like there was even a report of a funnel cloud around the city of Mankato. So there have been tornadoes. These storms have produced tornadoes, and they could still do so as we go through the next short whiles. We're tracking, again, these storms moving to the south and east. So they moved from areas near Mankato. This one storm producing that funnel cloud near Mankato. You can kind of draw a line here following that storm, basically south of US Highway 14, moving into Waseca County, and then we're following that same circulation now in southern Steele County, still showing some signs of rotation, but also showing signs that it may be producing some higher wind gusts as compared to that threat for tornadoes. But then also, while we watch in that area, drawing a line from St. James, we had that confirmed tornado there just around 5:30 this evening, north of St. James, and then even some larger hail. But following that, another confirmed tornado in Faribault County, just north and west of Barber, north and west of the city of Blue Earth, and following that one, making its way closer to Freeborn County. So we're kind of watching this whole area with these active tornado warnings. So we're going to go ahead and switch it back over to the radar picture here, and just kind of looking at the overall reflectivity of what's been happening here. And as we go into what's going on here, looking at the velocity picture now. So we have this area of some rotation within that thunderstorm, and watching this area near Wells, where we have some of that red and green a little bit closer together. These are winds blowing in different directions. So this is what we use. This is a product from the radar that we as meteorologists use to analyze and look for any sort of rotation.
And it's looking like, sorry to interrupt you there,
good.
Aaron. Let
Yep.
me go back to here. All right, so it looks
Okay.
like some of these tornado warnings, although they are still active, we're starting to see some severe thunderstorm warnings layered on top. And if I am correct in seeing, does it look like the entire county of Freeborn is in that yellow?
Yeah, it does look like that. So really indicating what we've been talking about here with that change from the tornado threat to that wind threat. So it looks like the National Weather Service is also picking up on that. That's not to say that tornadoes aren't going to happen anymore, but we look like we're evolving into that higher threat for some damaging wind gusts here. Now, again, severe thunderstorm warning for the entire county of Freeborn County. So this does include the city of Albert Lea. This also includes areas west of Austin, all of Interstate 90 and Interstate 35 in Freeborn County. This is a severe thunderstorm warning, okay? It's not a tornado warning, but it is still something to take seriously because we have threats for very high wind gusts over 60 miles per hour. We also have a threat for some larger hail. And Sarah, I don't know if you've read the National Weather Service statement and what they're saying for that particular warning, but we are seeing at least that indication similar to what the storms have already been doing, just kind of removing that greater threat for tornadoes. But tornadoes are still possible as we have a tornado watch in effect through midnight here tonight.
Yeah, so I'm getting the information here on this very large severe thunderstorm warning here. So what we're seeing is the hazard of 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. Nickel-sized hail is going to be a possibility here with this in this yellow area, which once again covers the entire county of Freeborn. And now that, let's see, expected damage to roofs, siding, and trees is possible. Of course, as it always is when you get strong winds, that possibility of some larger hail. Just kind of looking through here, the tornado watch that most of us are under right now still remains in effect till midnight. Yeah, just kind of going through the checklist here that the National Weather Service puts out when they put out these warnings, just to give us an idea. Now, this particular severe thunderstorm warning goes until 8:15, so that's going to be bringing us into the 8 o'clock hour, and that's a big chunk of time from now. I mean, we're just coming up on 7:30. So once again, that severe thunderstorm warning until 8:15. And this was the same storm that we see a tornado warning currently on top of as well. So I'm thinking, like you said, Aaron, that the National Weather Service is once again picking up on the fact that these storms aren't necessarily weakening. When it doesn't have that tight rotation, it doesn't necessarily mean it's weakening in that sense. It's still a very strong storm. It just doesn't necessarily have that rotation anymore to bring out that possibility of a tornado. So they change from that tornado warning over to a severe thunderstorm warning.
Yeah, exactly. And again, this kind of good news, bad news situation because it's still a severe thunderstorm, but it is not producing that immediate threat of a tornado because we're starting to see the winds kind of pushing out from the thunderstorm. And something that could also happen with that is the storms could also pick up a little bit more speed. So that could also have an impact on how much rain we get. If the storms are moving through quicker, well, we might not be talking about as much heavier rainfall and that threat for flash flooding. So that's also good news, but they do still bear watching as they are now really moving into the city of Albert Lea, that one thunderstorm that had the tornado warning. This tornado warning still is in effect, but it does look like the circulation is weakening, and that's why further downstream of that storm, the National Weather Service did decide to issue a severe thunderstorm warning instead, because we're not seeing as great of rotation right now with that storm. But we are still watching the storm to the north. Again, this now kind of, I don't want to say different storms, but kind of a whole line of storms that is now stretching into Steele County and all the way now into Dodge County. We don't have any warnings in effect for Dodge County at the present time, but we do still have that tornado warning in effect for Steele County. And Sarah, if you want to switch it over to the velocity. I want to talk about this again here.
Sure. I'm going to break in just for a moment to
Okay.
say that those of you in Waseca County, happy to say you can see it visually here that there is no longer a tornado warning in Waseca County, but we still see that tail end of it, or not really the tail end, the front end more or less, kind of moving through Steele County and, like Aaron just pointed out, kind of heading towards places like Dodge and Mower County. So let me go over to the velocity here for you, Aaron. Can I kind of explain a little bit of what we're seeing here? Because we're not necessarily seeing so much rotation anymore, but it's looking like we're starting to see those winds kind of shoot outwards.
Yeah, we're starting to see that outflow, the winds pushing away. So again, this is what we're watching here. Thank you, Sarah, for that.
Oops.
As we
My mistake.
Oh, you're good. If we go back to that here. So notice we're still at least seeing maybe some pockets of some weak rotation there right around Wells. But the overall storm, we're starting to see a lot more red pushing into the green. So that's the winds pushing out from the storm, so the more threat for the damaging wind gusts. We're also seeing it around here. There is a little bit of a circulation there north of Clark's Grove, just now east of I-35, getting closer to Blooming Prairie. So if you live in Blooming Prairie, you should be taking your tornado precautions now. You should have already done so, but now is the time. This area of rotation, if there is a tornado, it's only a few miles west of town. So basement, lowest level of your home, get away from windows, basically put as many walls between you and the outside. And if you don't have the basement, interior closet is always good. A bathroom that just doesn't have any windows, just the most center part of your house is going to be the safest place should there be any potential for a tornado.
Some good news
Something
to the
else?
south here. We just see the tornado warning that was over portions of Freeborn County has now been allowed to expire. It's been canceled.
That's good news.
So a lot of that rotation that we were just talking about, kind of near Wells, is not necessarily seen as rotation so much anymore, but now we're looking at damaging strong winds. So there is still, yes, an immediate threat, still under a severe thunderstorm warning that does cover the entirety of Freeborn County. This storm is moving a little quicker, and it's starting to bring in some stronger winds as opposed to rotating winds.
Yeah, and some definitely good news with that, because we maybe, we might see the end of that threat for tornadoes. Hopefully we do see that, and we are just maybe dealing with some higher wind gusts. We're not seeing quite a definition of very extreme wind gusts, which is also good news. But even that, with some of these brighter reds in there, likely seeing some indications maybe of winds gusting closer to 60 miles per hour.
Yes.
And that's why we have that severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 8:15. So another 45 minutes on that storm, and it looks like we actually have another
one, yeah.
severe thunderstorm warning. I'm going to step out of
Here
the
we
way
go.
so we can look at all these storms in a little bit more detail. And it looks like, yeah, they're kind of warning the entire line of storms. If you go,
There we go. I'm going to remove that.
And then we can kind of see that we're tracking, this whole line, like we've been talking about, this whole line of storms now being warned for that potential of severe weather. So this stretch is now, I just mentioned it just a moment ago that we didn't have a warning for Dodge County, but we do now. Southern Dodge County in a severe thunderstorm warning. That includes areas around Claremont. That includes Dodge Center and getting closer to Casson. It's just kind of clipping areas just near Highway 14. There's the highway right in there, and southern parts of Dodge County. So Hayfield, Blooming Prairie also in that severe thunderstorm warning. So this also may be a sign, like we just saw with the storm west of Albert Lea, that tornado warning may be allowed to expire, which is good news, but we are still tracking that threat for very high wind gusts. And while that's happening, again, this severe thunderstorm warning also includes Mower County. Almost, I'm not sure if it's all of Mower County, but almost all of the county itself.
There we go.
Except for that southeastern corner there, but including the city of Austin, it includes the city of Dexter, with that potential for high wind gusts near and over 60 miles per hour as it is tracking to the south and east. And not sure what the National Weather Service is saying, if they've changed their estimated speed on the path or how fast the storms are moving, but with that potential from tornadoes and how this line is seeing that wind kind of push out, it may be picking up some speed.
I would say it certainly is, because if we remember from earlier, if you were here with us, we were talking about how this particularly tornado-warned storm that had dropped a tornado further off to the west was moving around 20 to 25 miles per hour. And now it's showing that the severe thunderstorm is moving about 45 miles per hour. And let's see, the severe thunderstorm will be near Austin, Dodge Center, Hayfield around 7:35 here, Brownsdale around 7:40, Rochester, Stewartville, Grand Meadow, Lyle, and Rose Creek. That's going to be around 7:55, and Adams around 8 p.m. So other locations include some campgrounds as well as I-90. There are several roads that are well traveled that are kind of in the path of this severe warned storm. And it is worth noting, it is still tornado warned. This tornado warning goes until 7:45, so we've got a little over 10 minutes left of that. We'll see if the National Weather Service does decide to cancel it early. We'll, of course, update you on that.
Yeah, and thank you, Sarah, for that, because we are going to really keep a close eye on everything that's been happening here and seeing if we get any more reports of some higher wind gusts, because we are seeing now that storm in the city of Albert Lea. So if we're getting any potential severe winds, we're likely seeing that in the city of Albert Lea. And it looks like we do have a new tornado warning that has just been issued. I'm going to step away here just so we can kind of take a look at what's going on with that, because it does look like it is a confirmed tornado.
Yes.
You'll see that icon that popped up there. This is a confirmed tornado there near
It's 17 miles west of Albert Lea, moving east at 20 miles per hour.
Okay, so this is that circulation that we were just kind of watching near Wells, and this is going to be impacting the cities of Wells, Alden. This does include Alden, Carlston, and Clark in western Freeborn County. So again, this area of rotation right now is just north and west of the city of Albert Lea, but it does still bear watching, because that's what we're kind of watching here. Again, we're still seeing that outflow. We're still seeing those winds pushing out of the storm, but we're also watching this right in there where we have the green and the red really close together, basically right there, just south of Wells, with now a confirmed tornado on the ground. And Sarah, I don't know if you saw with the Weather Service if we had it confirmed by storm spotters, but they may be also confirming it based on radar, based on that signature that we saw in there. And even with the last scan, it looks like it may have dissipated a little bit. So that could be good news too, but still a very concerning situation here near the city of Wells.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything mentioning who may have confirmed it, other than it has been a confirmed tornado.
Okay.
Let me keep doing a little research here, and I will break back in.
Yeah, so we're going to be watching that again. That's near the city of Wells. That area of rotation, again, not as strong, but still does bear watching, as it would be tracking to the south and east, taking its way closer to Alden. So if you live in Alden, you should be taking your tornado precautions now. That's basement, lowest level of your home, or just an interior room away from windows. Putting as many walls between you and the outside is going to offer you the safest protection should a tornado potentially move in. But right now, based on that radar signature, we had a confirmed tornado, but it could be weakening, and that is a good sign, and hopefully that trend does continue. While that's happening right there, just towards the bottom of your screen, near Walters, we're also talking about a little bit of an area, maybe of some rotation. This could also be that wind kind of pushing out of the storm, but still, that also does bear some watching here right around the Walters area. So we have two different spots that we have to keep an eye on for some rotation, for circulation, but this whole area of red, that is the outflow, that is the winds pushing out of the storm, leading to that threat for some higher wind gusts, and why we have this overall severe thunderstorm warning that is in effect. So we have that, and kind of looking at the overall picture, we have this tornado warning that's basically embedded within the severe thunderstorm warning, because that's literally what's happening right now. We have this larger complex of storms, the whole line of storms that's rolling through, but within that, we also have some pockets of rotation, and looks like we just got a new severe thunderstorm warning, so they are extending it down further to the south and east. So, and they're also putting tornado possible on that. That's something to note here through this evening. While we may not have a tornado warning in effect for this new area for Lake Mills, extending down into Northwood and Manly, and even far northeastern Cerro Gordo County, so north of Mason City right now, this is going to be moving to the south and east, and it has that potential for high wind gusts over 60 miles per hour, potentially some hail. Right now, hail indications haven't been the highest, but also that threat for a possible tornado. Should we see something similar to what's happening in Freeborn County, where we have the winds pushing out, but there's just a little pocket of some rotation within the line that could briefly produce a tornado.
Yeah, so going to break in now and just let you know, we asked the question how we got that confirmed tornado, that warning here. Where did it go? Well, it is there. Then we're talking about who may have seen it. Here, that should open it up for us. Yep. And it is confirmed by spotters. Just want to let you know, weather spotters did confirm the tornado. I know it's a little difficult to see here. Let me turn off the radar for us. There we go. So we are talking about, Aaron, where's your pointer tool? There it is. We're talking about this one right here. So yeah, that's the one where we have another confirmed tornado. And it is moving very slow. It's moving about 20 miles per hour and headed towards Albert Lea, places like Albert Lea. So Albert Lea not currently in the tornado warning. I think that is worth mentioning. But the point that we have a confirmed tornado heading towards a more populated area, it's about time. Let's get ready, get our plan set so that if that tornado warning does go off, that we get to our safe space.
Yeah, and it's definitely a good idea. Even if you're not in that tornado warning, just think about going into your safe place right now. If you have a TV down there, just turn the TV on. Just kind of sit, in your tornado safe place. You can turn the volume up. You can also watch us on your phone. We have our live stream going right now, KIMT.com. So in case you lose power, your phone is still charged. You can still have a way to get that severe weather information on your phone. You can watch us live on our live stream on KIMT.com, but you can also watch us live on Facebook as we are tracking the severe weather. And we're going to continue to track it as it moves from southern Minnesota and gradually going to be moving into North Iowa here. You're really getting closer to the border now, this southern edge of that line of storms crossing from Faribault County here into Winnebago County and going to be also moving into Worth County. And it looks like a larger part of Worth County will likely be affected by that storm. And again, while that's happening there, we also have this other storm that's kind of part of the entire line, moving from Steele County now into Dodge County, moving into Mower County, and also affecting eastern portions of Freeborn County. So cities of Austin, Albert Lea right now are the immediate concern here, especially with that tornado warning to the north and west of the city of Albert Lea, but some higher wind gusts going to be moving into Austin, and it's literally on the doorstep of Austin and Mower County here right now. Sarah?
Yeah, we're getting some reports here, multiple spotters reporting, yes, the tornado confirmation as well as some tree damage. And not just from the tornado, we're getting some tree damage reports from just thunderstorm wind gusts. So it tells you that even if you're not under that tornado warning, if you are under the severe thunderstorm warning, we're still facing a big threat.
Yep, and just another reason why you want to stay away from windows, stay in a safe place here while we're tracking this whole line of storms rolling through, because you never know what the storm's going to do. We talk about trees getting knocked over. A lot of people I know want to watch the storms as they roll in, but it's better to be in your safe place, get away from windows, just sit and wait till the storm passes and then kind of go out and see what all has transpired with that storm. But again, try to stay in a safe place here as we're tracking not just the severe thunderstorm warnings, but also those tornado warnings that are currently in effect. 2 tornado warnings. Again, if you're just joining us right now, the time is 7:42 here on our Monday evening here on KIMT News 3. We are in live severe weather coverage with 2 tornado warnings and severe thunderstorm warnings that are affecting southern Minnesota and North Iowa. So going to be kind of recapping things that are happening right now. We have a tornado warning that is in effect for southern Steele County and northern Freeborn County. This includes the city of Ellendale and near Blooming Prairie, so you need to be in your tornado safe place right now. We also have a newer tornado warning that was just issued in the last 5 minutes or so. That includes western parts of Freeborn County. Sarah, if you want to zoom into the radar picture here around that storm. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit more detail. If you can switch it to the velocity picture,
Yes.
and kind of what we're seeing is this little wraparound area here. They're right in there. It's not quite as strong. We're really not seeing what we saw just a few minutes ago. There was a little bit tighter rotation, as we call it, where we have the green and the red right next to each other, but there's separation. So that's a good sign. That's a good sign that we're seeing some weakening with the rotation. And hopefully that continues, and we may see this tornado warning allowed to expire. But for now, if you live in the city of Alden, if you live in Carlston, just stay in your safe place for now. As we watch the storm passing over, we'll eventually give you the all clear, and things will be back to normal as we are starting to see that weakening of the rotation here. But if this could still cycle back up, storms tend to do that, where they may weaken briefly, and then all of a sudden we start to see that rotation picking back up again, as we may start to see some of the winds from the storm pushing out a little bit, and the winds going into the storm getting a little bit closer. And there you go. Maybe that's happening right now with this newest scan. We're starting to see a little bit more of that green and red a little closer together. So there is still at least an indication that there's rotation right now with that storm. Again, this is moving in. This is in western parts of Freeborn County now, getting closer to Alden, basically near Carlston and Alden. They're on 640th Avenue, south of Freeborn, and north of Interstate 90 is where we're watching that one pocket. And Sarah, if you can move the radar a little bit further south, kind of watching this, this other area
Mansfield.
that is a little bit concerning. This also might be that indication that we're seeing those winds again kind of pushing out of the storm, but still, like we saw with that area of the green and red really close together, it does bear watching, but this might still be that threat for those higher wind gusts kind of pushing into the winds that are blowing towards the radar. So Mansfield.
Oh, they just got a new tornado warning right there.
Okay, so we do have a new tornado warning again for that area of rotation. You saw it pop up there live on TV as we've been talking about this potential rotation, and looks like it is. Even the National Weather Service is now confirming that there is some rotation. We haven't necessarily gotten confirmation of a tornado on the ground, but likely radar indicated based on velocity. So the National Weather Service is looking at the same thing that we are looking at and talking about right now, and they noticed that, and that's what prompted them to now issue this tornado warning in effect for southern portions of Freeborn County. So Sarah, if you want to zoom the radar out just a little bit and switch it back over to the reflectivity here, and you'll notice that, again, this affects areas south and west of Albert Lea. It affects the areas around Emmons with that new tornado warning. So other thing about it here, and this is really important to note, is notice here where we have the tornado warning. You can't even see it. Mm-hmm. It's covered in rain. So if there is a tornado, it's going to be wrapped in rain, and you're not going to be able to see anything. So that makes it even more dangerous in this type of situation, because you won't see it coming. It's going to be wrapped in rain. You're going to get all this rain, heavy wind, and there's that potential then a tornado could be moving into areas near Emmons, again, east of Keister, west of Freeman, south and west of Albert Lea. Basically, the southwestern corner of Freeborn County is in that tornado warning. While that's happening, we also still have the other tornado warning, including the cities of Alden, Interstate 90 in western Freeborn County here, again, west of Albert Lea. And even the city of Albert Lea, we don't have a tornado warning, but we have a severe thunderstorm warning with high wind gusts possible here in the city. So there's a lot of different things happening within this whole line of thunderstorms that we really have to keep a close eye on. And it's not even just for the areas that are being impacted right now. It's for all the communities, all of us that are going to be eventually in the path of this storm, this line of storms. And that includes Lake Mills there in North Iowa. This includes also Northwood, Manly, potentially even Mason City. We're going to have to watch the southern end of this line here. If we get any more storms building back this way, those would be sweeping in towards Forest City and Mason City. If this is where it stops, then you can kind of draw a line, and the storms may just stay north of the city of Mason City and Clear Lake here in Cerro Gordo County. But we do have a severe thunderstorm warning that has been extended into North Iowa, including Lake Mills, including Northwood, and also including the cities of Manly. And then stretching back to the north, if we want to kind of pan along this line, we also have severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for Austin, again, also for Albert Lea, also for Blooming Prairie, also for Dodge County. Even now, southwestern parts of Olmsted County in that severe thunderstorm warning. So this does not include the city of Rochester, but Rochester, we're getting some pretty heavy rainfall. And we do have a severe thunderstorm warning that is in effect. This does include the cities of Stewartville and also up to Dodge Center. So where we seeing the red, that's the heavier rain, but the highest wind threat going to be on the front edge of that storm. So where we see a little bit more of that transition from the darker green to the yellow, that's where the highest wind gusts are going to be. So that's literally on the doorstep of Austin right now. You should be taking a safe place now and also getting closer to Stewartville. And we're still going to get some high winds and very heavy rainfall already happening in Rochester, but also downtown Albert Lea. Sarah, if you want to switch it over to the Albert Lea Live Eye, if we can do that.
Last I looked, it just was quite rainy. There we go.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, we did kind of a rotation. We spun the camera around a little bit, but that's, we're not necessarily going to be able to see any tornado if there is one because of all of this rain.
Yeah.
Rain wrapped is one of the most dangerous, really. I mean,
Really?
Every tornado is dangerous, but rain wrapped tornadoes are scary because you don't necessarily see them coming. So
Yeah.
that's why you need to heed these warnings. That's why we're here on your TVs. That's why we've been here for the last hour, just letting you know where all of this is going and where it spawned.
Yeah, and I mean, again, it's a very serious situation. Thank you for that, Sarah. Because again, you're not going to see anything coming if it's all wrapped in rain. It's a similar situation when we talk about nighttime tornadoes and just how dangerous they are because you don't see it coming. And that's why you have to be in a safe place. And that's what's happening in Freeborn County with those 2 tornado warnings. And even here in the city of Albert Lea, we're getting some very heavy rainfall. We're kind of seeing some higher wind gusts there at the present time. You can kind of see those trees there in the distance, just north of downtown, kind of blowing there in the wind. And visibility, of course, has gone down because of the rain and the wind. So that is what's happening right now. Again, this is live in the city of Albert Lea where we have that severe thunderstorm warning in effect. And that's going to be in effect here for the next short while as we're tracking, again, this entire line of severe thunderstorms. So I'm going to switch it back over to the radar picture here. Just bear with me. It looks like the computer just kind of having a little tough time because, again, it's being used here quite a bit as we're tracking all of this active weather here. And, it doesn't get a lot of use like this on a daily basis. So it is being taxed there. That's why the screen went to black there just for a moment. But here's the radar picture. This is what's happening. We have severe thunderstorm warnings in effect. We have tornado warnings in effect there south and west of Albert Lea. But the whole complex, again, has that potential of producing severe weather, even up into the Rochester area here. We don't have an immediate severe thunderstorm warning in effect, but Rochester, we're going to get some very heavy rainfall in the city, in the metro, in the next 20 minutes. Already raining right now, but even heavier rain and potential for some hail moving in here in the next short while. And then as we're tracking this whole line again, severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Austin, Mower County, severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Albert Lea, Freeborn County, in addition to those 2 tornado warnings. And while we're tracking that, we also want to get you a live visual of what's happening in the field. We have meteorologist Travis Clark-Smith. He is live tracking these storms right now, and we're going to toss it out to him with an update on what's happening here at the present time. Travis, if you can hear me, what are you seeing right now?
Hey, Aaron. So right now we are on Highway 56, south of Dodge Center, just north of Hayfield. What we have been experiencing so far is a lot of heavy rain and some very gusty winds. Have not really seen any hail, but we have seen some lightning. And again, some very, very heavy rain. We're about to enter the city of Hayfield here very shortly. But that is what we are seeing right now. I mean, you can look at if you can see the sky through all the rain, it's got that very distinct greenish hue that you would expect with those severe thunderstorms that contain hail. So again, we are just north of Hayfield on Highway 56 heading southbound.
Alrighty, thank you, Travis, for that update. And again, he's keeping a close eye on what's happening there right now. Again, you can see that heavy rainfall. There's some higher wind gusts here at the present time. So Travis is going to be out tracking the storms here in the field. We're tracking them for you here in the studio as we have just so many things that are happening here this evening. And we're going to stay with it here as we are continuing to track the severe weather. So some areas now getting to all clear. Parts of Faribault County, just east of Blue Earth now, the city of Wells, that tornado warning has now been confined into Freeborn County. We also have a secondary tornado warning. This includes areas east of Keister. This includes the city of Emmons in a tornado warning just south and west of Albert Lea, because we're watching a couple different areas of rotation here within the whole line of thunderstorms. And Sarah, if you want to switch it over to velocity, we're kind of just so we can kind of see what's going on here. And yeah, we're not seeing as strong of rotation. There is still at least a couple pockets there around Alden, but there near Conger and north and west of Emmons, we're watching a couple areas there where we have the green and that sort of the pink color that you can see. There's a little rotation there and a little bit stronger rotation to the north and west of Emmons. So both of these areas do bear watching. There is potential that these could be producing tornadoes. There could be a tornado even on the ground right now based on those signatures. But the other thing to note is it's going to be wrapped in rain. So if you live in Emmons, you're not going to see any sort of tornado. It's going to be wrapped up in rain. You need to be in your safe place right now. Basement, lowest level of your home, away from windows, into your closet or bathroom. If you don't have a basement that's going to put as many walls between you and the outside, it's going to be your safest bet if there is a potential tornado moving into the city of Emmons. Again, we haven't gotten a confirmation. This is all based upon what we are seeing here on the radar picture, where we have that green sort of kind of jutting out into the red here. That's an indication of that rotation. We have the winds blowing towards the radar, and we have the winds blowing away from the radar, so you can kind of see where Sarah has circled both of these areas with two different spots of rotation within that one tornado warning. Sarah, have you seen anything else with that?
Not necessarily. I'm noticing a little further to the north that tornado warning over Alden is, it's not looking like it's as tight anymore when it comes to that rotation. You can see the main difference here behind Aaron, where it's a little messier going on there with the greens and the reds mixed together, where it's a little easier to spot it further to the south with those two circled areas. Exactly.
And I mean, the only thing, it's kind of been messy, even since the tornado warning was issued. We saw a really defined area of rotation when the National Weather Service issued the tornado warning with a confirmation of a tornado, and then it started to weaken, which of course is good news. There is still some weak rotation there north and east of Alden, where we have some of that green and red a little bit closer together. And I say a little bit because when you compare it to what's south, like Sarah mentioned there, comparing this to that, totally different, because this is actually well-defined rotation and potentially meaning that there is or either a tornado developing or perhaps a tornado on the ground. And if we move the radar just a little bit further to the south and kind of showing where this is moving towards, again, this is really close to the city of Emmons. You need to be in your safe place right now. Lake Mills, looks like this area of rotation is just to your north by about 10, 15 miles, and that rotation is moving towards the south and east. So drawing a line, that's going to take it through Emmons, and it would take it into northern parts of Worth County. Again, moving towards the south and east here, eventually getting closer to Interstate 35. So this area of rotation really does bear watching, because we could be talking about a tornado near or in the city of Emmons right now. So again, Emmons basement right now. This is what's happening here live on the radar. It is 7:57, and we have this area of rotation moving into the city of Emmons right now.
New tornado warning.
Okay, and it looks like the National Weather Service, so we're crossing over into North Iowa, and the National Weather Service that's based out of Des Moines is now extending this tornado warning into North Iowa, including Worth County. So this includes northern parts of Worth County. So we're crossing over from Emmons, and this area of rotation will be moving towards the city of Northwood. So Northwood now, you are in a tornado warning, and you need to be taking your tornado precautions at the present time. This storm, again, moving at about 25, maybe as much as 30, but likely 25 miles per hour.
Actually moving around 45
Has
is
it
what I'm
picked up
seeing
more speed?
here.
Okay,
Yeah.
it has picked up more speed. So that means it's going to be here even sooner. So you have less time to prepare. So take your tornado precautions now. Get in a basement, get in the lowest level of your home, and put as many walls between you and the outside. Because again, this is now a tornado warning. This is an imminent threat as we are tracking this area of rotation going to be crossing from southern Minnesota around Emmons and crossing into Worth County. So crossing from Freeborn County into Worth County here in about the next 30 minutes. So we're watching that confirmed area of rotation, as we've been talking about here for the last 5 minutes or so, right there near and just maybe a mile north of Emmons, but there is rotation pretty much all around the city. Can we zoom in a little bit closer to Emmons and just kind of look at what we're talking about with this area of defined rotation? Again, right there, that's what we're kind of watching here. Again, just about a mile, maybe 1 or 2 miles, I would say about a mile north of Emmons, or even closer to the city of Emmons here, we have just this whole area of rotation basically along the Minnesota-Iowa border where we're talking about this. So this looks like the more well-defined area of rotation, but this whole part of the storm does have some circulation, as Sarah just circled there. We're seeing sort of the broad rotation, which sometimes we refer to as the mesocyclone. That's the broader rotation within the storm. But then where we have more of that green and red kind of jutting there, that's the lower level rotation. So that's the potential funnel cloud, wall cloud, or even a tornado, should there be a tornado confirmed on the ground right now. So again, a lot of things happening with that storm. And again, this is all within that one line of severe thunderstorms that we are tracking, stretching from here around Emmons all the way through Albert Lea, through Austin, and even up to Rochester, as we have severe thunderstorm warnings that are also in effect. So there are definitely a lot of things happening here at the present time. Sarah, do you have any more updates on the severe thunderstorms?
Yeah, so before we talk about the thunderstorms themselves, just to go back to, you were talking about some of the different cities that this new tornado warning that was issued right here. Just going to be talking a little bit. We've got some timings here with the estimation. So once again, this is a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado, which is why it is moving a little faster. It's around 45 miles per hour, kind of moving to the east. So places like Emmons, you can expect a lot of this dangerous weather around 8 p.m. For Northwood, around 8:15 p.m. and then Northwood Municipal Airport around 8:20. So just some of the more populated areas that this storm is starting to head into, and of course this brand new tornado warning. Looking a little further to the north, we are, I believe, it looks like we have been allowed to take that tornado warning further to the north. That has been canceled. So now the main focus is on this one right along the border here near Emmons, moving towards Northwood. As for the severe thunderstorms, they have not extended the severe thunderstorm warnings yet. We're still seeing very large areas under the warning, which is not surprising, and you see how large this particular system is, this line of storms moving out. Lucky to say that we haven't seen any new tornado warnings further north, but we are still keeping a very close eye on the one further south. I'm going to keep looking to see if we've got any confirmation of a tornado. Right now it is still just radar indicated, but we have had a previous confirmation from this particular storm, as well as a few others. So it's going to be very interesting to see what comes from a lot of this. For the time being, though, you're not going to be able to see it. Don't pull out your phones to take a picture. Just get into your safe area. And
exactly.
Yes, there's no need to run out there to try to see something that's going to be just wrapped in rainfall.
Yeah, you're not going to see it. So stay in your safe place, wait the tornado warning out, and then, you can go about the rest of your evening and, kind of relax after the severe weather passes. We can all relax after the severe weather passes. But again, immediate threat, tornado warning, again, now crossing from southern Minnesota and Freeborn County into Worth County here in northern Iowa. This includes the city of Northwood. So again, you live in Northwood. If you live north of Manley, anywhere in northern Worth County, that includes Northwood, even near Diamond Joe Casino, you need to be in your tornado safe place right now, because this is a very serious threat. We haven't gotten a confirmation. This is radar indicated, but as we saw on the velocity, there is rotation with that storm, and that is now moving across northern portions of Worth County. And kind of as we're tracking this, we're also going to be tracking different things that are also happening outside. We saw on our Albert Lea live eye, we had a lot of heavy rainfall, some higher winds. If we can also take a live look at our Highway 52 camera, if we can take that full back in studio control, just take sign cam, there we go, double box with that. So we're looking off towards the north and west. There you can see on just on the side of your screen, we're looking towards the north and west and seeing at least some what we call scary looking clouds, not necessarily any rotation that we're seeing on radar with that, but definitely an ominous sight that is moving into the city of Rochester here at the present time. So again, a lot of different things that are happening. But let's go back to the radar as we do now have a newer tornado warning that has been allowed to be issued here. This looks like it now is for the northern portion of the warning, including southern Freeborn County, and it looks like I saw there with that notification that this is a confirmed tornado there, Sarah.
Yeah, I'm going to get some details about that as it just popped up. You can see a few of these layered on top of each other. And I mean, really, when we changed over to the velocity, you can see that green and red just intermingled there.
Yeah, and it's still kind of messy. I mean, one of the things that we also have to keep in mind is we are getting pretty far away from the nearest radar site. So that's why you see kind of that purple showing up there. We're looking at the radar picture out of the Twin Cities near the suburb of Chanhassen. And we're seeing rotation right in there. Again, this is near Emmons, just to the north and east of town, but also this area here is south and east of Emmons, so kind of two different areas within that whole larger circulation. Again, this is from Silver Lake, this whole area is the larger circulation, but we have two smaller areas, what we look at for lower level or closer to the ground, where that could be a tornado, potentially, and actually confirmed now by the National Weather Service on radar.
Yep, weather spotters have confirmed this. This is at 8:02. A confirmed tornado was located over Twin Lakes, or about 9 miles south of Albert Lea, and is moving east at 25 miles per hour.
Okay, so that's for that area right in there. So Sarah, if you want to zoom into that. Okay, so that was just 3 minutes ago. So we had a confirmed tornado with this area of rotation here, again, near Twin Lakes, so just north and east of Emmons, and this is moving towards the east-southeast, so that area of rotation where we have that green and the pink. So those, the different color, you can kind of see here on the legend, so the pink, that indicates some higher winds that are gusting out of the storm, and the green, the winds going into the storm. So we have winds going in, winds coming out, and that provides that area of rotation, that circulation right in there. So again, that's just south and west of Freeman. So this is going to be moving towards the south and east. And again, it is moving a little bit faster, between 30 and 40 miles per hour, maybe even higher, up to about 45. But this is going to be tracking towards the south and east. So near Freeman, if you live in Freeman, tornado safe place right now. This also includes the Interstate 35 corridor in southern Minnesota and southern Freeborn County, and also stretching down into Worth County, northern parts of Worth County, again, including the city of Northwood. So we have this circulation that has now been confirmed to be producing a tornado that is confirmed by spotters out in the field. They saw a tornado, and they're seeing that area of rotation producing a tornado. Now, we are getting a new update. This is the latest scan from the radar. We get new scans every 5 minutes, new weather data coming in, painting a different picture. We're starting to see maybe a little bit of a weakening with that storm, with that rotation there now just south and west of Freeman, between basically the highway there, Highway 69, and Interstate 35. So Sarah, that could be some good news if we continue to see that weakening of the rotation. There is still rotation, of course, and also more rotation there south and west of Silver Lake.
Yeah, it's very interesting. It worries me a little bit how far away from the radar we are, trying to get kind of how detailed this is. Once again, you can kind of see the purple here. Maybe you can't right behind me, but the purple that you see at the bottom of your screen here, showing that we are a little far away. So we're using the best that we can here when it comes to that, but the fact that we can still see that green intermingling with the red is still very concerning. That's those very long tornado warnings that we have currently. And to be honest, the National Weather Service is seeing the same things we are. So hopefully as we get a little closer to maybe a different radar, you can see it changes almost immediately as we switch through. It goes to the different radars and makes it still very difficult to see.
Yeah, I think this, what we're looking at here, this is probably the best radar picture that we're going to get. At least right now, as the storm continues to build a little bit further south and east, we're going to start to use the radar out of La Crosse. We're also going to be using the radar out of Des Moines to give us a better picture. So we're kind of in the middle of 3 different radar sites. And what we're looking at right now, as Sarah just mentioned, we're tracking a couple different areas here. This is, again, one radar picture that we're getting a little bit further away. So we also could be looking a little bit higher up into the storm. But as we mentioned just a few minutes ago at 8:02, we did get a confirmation of a tornado confirmed by spotters in the field near Twin Lakes. So that was for this area of rotation here in southern Minnesota, but we're also watching this other area of rotation there, as Sarah circled, that is going to be moving across northern Worth County near Silver Lake. So this is getting closer to I-35. So I-35, again, just across the border, Diamond Joe Casino there in North Iowa. Again, that's getting closer to where that is. So if you live near there, if you live along I-35 near Silver Lake, if you live also in Northwood, we've been talking about it, there is a tornado warning that also includes the city of Northwood. I know it's on the far edge of your screen there, but Northwood, you are included in a tornado warning, as we just got a new scan here. And there you go. We got the red and the green. We have a circulation with that tornado warning that is moving through Worth County. So as we're watching this, we're also watching, again, there's just so many different things that are happening with all of these thunderstorms. We have the tornado warnings. We also have the severe thunderstorm warnings that are in effect across other parts of northern Iowa, southern Minnesota, moving through Mower County. And I'm not sure if we have Travis, if he is still out in Storm Tracker. I know he was heading towards Austin at the last time. If we can, once we have him, if we can take him whenever he's ready, let's go ahead and do that. But again, Travis is heading towards Austin right now. So we are tracking this storm, this severe thunderstorm warning that is moving through Mower County, producing wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour. Also getting some very heavy rainfall, very high winds in Rochester. We can hear it just outside of our studio here. It's been kind of blowing here in the last, probably the last 5 minutes or so, really picking up steam. And we're watching that line where you see the red. That's some of the heavier rainfall, a lot of lightning with these storms as well. And that's going to be another concern, too, that we haven't really touched on, is how much lightning there is with these storms. Really seeing it there. Thank you for that, Sarah. So much lightning here over Austin, over Mower County, over those storms near and south of Albert Lea. And that could lead to some power outages. So that's also going to be a concern all the way up through Rochester. And it sounds like we do have meteorologist Travis Clark-Smith now. Again, he is live in Storm Tracker. Travis, we've been talking about the severe weather, tracking these storms here for the last hour or so. What are you seeing right now? I know you were heading towards Austin at last check.
Hey, Aaron, we are on Interstate 90 heading west toward Austin, just outside of Austin, and we have entered a really heavy rain area. I mean, photojournalist Brandon Boxtaller is driving. We are currently going about 35 miles an hour on I-90 because the rain is so heavy. We've got some constant lightning. I'm not sure if you're seeing the flashes of lightning as we're going here, but we're about to enter the city of Austin. And it is just coming down like crazy out here. So definitely don't want to be driving out like we are right now if you're in the Austin area, because this rain is just extremely heavy.
Alrighty. All right, thank you, Travis, for that update on the storms. Again, they're taking it pretty slow there on the interstate because, again, there's so much heavy rainfall and such high winds that are moving through. So a lot of things are happening. That was a live visual, so thank you for that update on the storms, Travis, and he's going to continue to update us from the field as we're still tracking these storms. And you just saw there, we just had a new severe thunderstorm warning that has been issued. This is an extension of that whole line. This includes now the cities of Osage. This includes a good portion of Mitchell County. Again, this is going to be moving into the city of Osage and likely going to be producing winds gusting up to near 60, maybe 65 miles per hour. Very heavy rainfall. And you can see it there around Northwood, so much lightning with that storm that, again, also has that tornado warning in effect. But we're now starting to see the threat for some higher wind gusts. So out ahead of the line, we are getting that severe thunderstorm warning now issued into Mitchell County, including Osage there. almost the entire county has a severe thunderstorm warning. We also have a new severe thunderstorm warning also in southern Minnesota. This also still includes parts of Mower County. It looks like actually the same warning. This does also now extend into southern Olmsted. So this includes southern portions of Rochester with very high wind gusts. This includes areas if you live around the South Target, if you live around the Rochester International Airport, if you live just areas near there, south of there, and also if you live in western portions of Fillmore County, we're talking about some very heavy rainfall. And if we could take our live look at downtown Rochester, this is from our live eye looking towards downtown, because you can kind of still see the buildings there. You saw there briefly, you saw the buildings. We're also now looking live here over Mason City. This is looking towards the south. If we can take a look at our downtown Rochester live eye, we are, seeing some very heavy rainfall. We're talking about rainfall amounts that are likely exceeding 1 inch per hour, and this is going to be another threat. Aside from tornadoes, wind, and hail, we're also looking at very heavy rainfall that could lead to some flash flooding. We did get a report of some flash flooding happening in the city of Wells in Faribault County, and we're going to have to watch these storms. They are starting to pick up a little bit more speed, so again, that's good news. That may, overall limit how much rainfall we end up seeing. But right now, as we're looking live here over downtown Rochester, very heavy rainfall. You can kind of see the skyline a little bit. It was hard to see a little bit ago, just a couple minutes, as the heavier rain was moving through. But we are still seeing at least very heavy rainfall and very high winds moving through the city of Rochester. And as we can also take a live look over Austin, we can kind of cycle through some of our live cameras right now. So we looked at downtown Rochester, Austin, really in the thick of it here, as we have very heavy rainfall. And notice all these little icons, those are all little lightning bolts. And we are talking about just so much lightning here across Mower County. It sounds like our Austin Live Eye isn't working in the moment. But if we can go ahead and let's take a look at Mason City one more time, because I know Mason City, we haven't really talked about you here a lot because the storms have been just north of town. But if we can go to our Mason City Live Eye, and we're looking at it we were looking towards the south from our Mason City Live Eye just a few minutes ago. And we're going to talk about it because we want to look towards the north. We want to really look at that storm that is moving through Northwood right now, again, with that tornado warning. So as we are talking about Northwood, again, we have a tornado warning in effect. So if you live in Northwood, in northern Worth County, if you live in southern Freeborn County, we have that tornado warning that is in effect. So here's a live look over Mason City. And Sarah, I don't know if you have it pulled up there, if we can spin it around and look at our Mason City Live Eye. Again, this is looking towards the south and southeast, I should say. So we're looking kind of away from the storm at the present time. But as we are going to eventually, we're talking about spinning it around, and we're starting to see some darker skies to the north of Mason City. So just bear with us just for one moment. We're starting to spin it here. So we're kind of looking now a little bit further towards the east. So we're eventually going to continue to build it or spin it around so you can kind of see just an overall view over Mason City. So this is looking at our tower. This is where our studio located in downtown Mason City, and we're looking towards the tower. And now we're looking towards the north, a little bit clearer picture. And yeah, really just seeing a darker sky right now. So really not a lot happening in Mason City at the present time. So let's take it back to the radar picture here as we are tracking the severe weather across much of the area, in fact. And you might be able to hear it on our microphone right now.
Outside.
Wind and rain has really picked up in Rochester. And if we want to, listening back in studio control, we can take a double box at any time here of our downtown Live Eye and radar with us as we are looking at the heavy rain moving through the city of Rochester. And look at that. Here's a live look at our outside of our Rochester studio. Oof. Looking at all that rain and wind, basically moving from the north, kind of pushing out of the thunderstorm. So some very strong winds. You can kind of see the trees blowing there along the frontage road. And, really just a lot of things happening there in the city of Rochester right now. As we have, this is not severe. These winds are gusting pretty high as you saw live there, but the severe thunderstorm warning and likely maybe some embedded higher gusts within that storm there in Rochester. And it looks like we have a new tornado warning. This is Mower County. Okay, so this is a brand new tornado warning that includes the city of Mower County. So we go back to that.
Here we go.
So we have it Now, it looks like it is now just east of Austin. So Austin, you are not included in that tornado warning, but it does include Dexter. It actually includes a large part of Interstate 90 in Mower County. It also includes Grand Meadow and Racine there on US Highway 63. So just south of Rochester, south of Stewartville, moving down US Highway 63, that is all included in that tornado warning. So a lot of things are going on. If we can switch it over to the velocity picture here and kind of look at what's going on with that storm. So we have, again, a lot of different things happening, and there you go. Yeah,
right there.
That is a well-defined area
Yes,
of rotation that we are seeing, again, now just east of Austin here at the present time. So that area of rotation near and north of Interstate 90. And let's zoom in a little bit closer because just kind of looking at some of the cities that are there. There you go. So this is getting closer to Dexter. So this is moving towards the east-northeast based on the warning. So this would be taking it in towards the city of Dexter. So Dexter, you need to be in your safe place right now. That is a basement, the lowest level of your home, away from windows. That's going to be the safest place should there be a tornado on the ground. But Sarah, if you want to, I don't know if you can agree with me on this one, but that's one of the strongest radar signatures that we have seen all day.
I would agree, yeah, just kind of looking at that. And again, we're a little closer to the radar site now, so it gives you a better idea. But yeah, that was that's pretty tight right there and a little concerning for sure. Thus the tornado warning. Once again, this is, let me see which direction it's moving. Try to get some information here. Now, there hasn't been any confirmation on this particular one. This is a radar indicated, as they call it. However, let's see, tornado warning for northeastern Mower County. So it looks like a thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado, thus the tornado warning, was located near Brownsdale, or 7 miles east of Austin, and it is moving east at 40 miles per hour. Aaron just took a peek outside here at our studio, and yeah, the rain and the winds coming in strong. And we're not even under a warning here at the studio. So it kind of tells you that these are very strong storms. Those of us who are under the warnings for sure need to get indoors.
Exactly.
If you're not.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you could hear that through the microphone, but I could barely even open up the door. I mean, those are very strong winds that are moving through the city of Rochester, potentially nearing severe limits if they are not exceeding that, because we have just such high winds with these thunderstorms that are moving through not just Rochester, but also moving through Austin. They move through Albert Lea, moving towards Grand Meadow, moving into North Iowa as well. But within that whole line, within the winds and the hail and heavy rainfall, we're also seeing these pockets of rotation. And this is what we're talking about right now, is at least an area of rotation there north of Interstate 90, where we have that blue and the red showing up. That's an indication that we look at on radar. This is the velocity picture. So this is looking at the wind blowing in different directions. So we have winds blowing towards the radar and winds blowing away from the radar to give us a picture of a circulation that we saw, but now we might be seeing it kind of falling apart. And that's something that will happen with these types of situations where we get these brief funnel clouds, brief tornadoes that may last for less than a minute, maybe even 30 seconds, and then they, kind of fall apart. So that is something that we have to really keep a close eye on. And while we're looking at that, you're also looking at a live picture over downtown Rochester, where we've been, again, talking about high winds gusting through the area, and also, just very heavy rainfall. I mean, rainfall amounts over 1 inch per hour, and we haven't really seen any reports of any hail with the storm. There may be at least some smaller hail moving through parts of the area, but really talk about high winds, very heavy rainfall, and also that threat for some, potential tornadoes that are moving through Mower County with that one area of circulation. So let's go back to the radar picture. Again, this is the most immediate concern because we have that tornado warning that is in effect not just for Mower County, but we also have another storm that is producing a potential tornado. This is in northern Worth County. It does look like it is crossing the border from Freeborn County and now into Worth County. So if you live in the city of Albert Lea, we can give you the all clear. Things are improving. The storm is passing now. And also, as we're looking at this radar picture with that potential rotation here, it is literally getting closer to Northwood now. So Northwood, again, you need to be in your safe place. This is a serious situation. There could be a tornado developing. We haven't gotten confirmation from spotters on the ground, at least in the last short while. This is a situation that, these areas of rotation can kind of cycle. We get a tornado and then it may dissipate, but it could be recycling. And we're still seeing indications on radar that there is rotation within that thunderstorm. So even if it's not a tornado, we could still be looking at a wall cloud, a funnel cloud, but still a very serious situation that if you live in Northwood, you need to be taking your safety precautions now, because as we've mentioned here throughout this evening, it's likely rain wrapped. You're not going to be able to see anything. So stay in your safe place, wait it out, it'll pass, and then things will be back to normal once this area of rotation does pass through the Northwood area and northern portions of Worth County. And it does look like it is becoming a little bit more broad, a little bit more elongated, if you will. We're not seeing that tighter rotation that we really look for, that we saw just a few minutes ago with the storm in Mower County. But there is still at least some indications of rotation, maybe weaker rotation, which is also good news, and something we'll have to keep a close eye on. But Sarah, if you want to zoom out a little bit and kind of pan the camera down, there you go. So we're kind of looking at a different radar picture, a different area of rotation there around Northwood. But again, it does look like there is some weakening going on and definitely some good news. But still a concern here around Mower County, east of Austin there along Interstate 90. Definitely also not as strong as it was just a few scans ago. But it is still a concern where we have that red kind of embedded within that green. Weaker rotation, again, good news, it may be weakening and not producing a tornado, but still, if you live in Dexter, just take your safety precautions now. We have that tornado warning in effect, just wait it out, and then it'll pass through the area. Even if it doesn't produce a tornado, you're still getting very high winds, very heavy rainfall, and also a lot of lightning. So as we're looking at that, I want to take a double box of our Austin Live Eye. We have that picture now, so we're looking at downtown Austin, and you'll notice there, we had a lot of heavy rainfall. The streets, of course, are wet. Looks like conditions may be getting a little bit better as the heavier rain has now pushed to the east of the city. Our live camera was down for just a brief time. I'm not sure if it was affected by any power outages or anything like that, but it is back now, so things are looking okay here in downtown Austin. Still getting some rain at the present time, but it looks like, as we see here on the radar picture, the heaviest of the rain, where we see that red, has moved to the east of Austin. Still getting some light to moderate rain in town, but the strongest part of the storm is now moving to the east, affecting central and eastern parts of Mower County, and that whole line stretching down into northern Worth County, and also now moving into Mitchell County. So this is going to be affecting Osage. Again, this is moving in along US Highway 218. It already crossing over Highway, Interstate 35 there, just around Diamond Joe Casino, just west of Northwood, I should say, north and west of Manly. So these areas are going to continue to be affected here. Manly likely going to get some very heavy rainfall here in about the next 10 minutes. Already getting some rain now, but even heavier rain moving into Manly in the next short while. Starting to get some more development around Mason City. Not severe, but some showers are developing here just in parts of Cerro Gordo County. But the more severe part looks like it's going to stay at least just north of the city for now. But we are going to, again, have to watch for this western edge if this kind of clips maybe the northern part of the city of Mason City in the next 30 to 45 minutes. So while that's happening with that storm, again, that's going to be the one affecting Mitchell County here. Already getting some heavier rainfall moving into areas around Stacyville, going to be affecting Osage, and eventually moving over towards the Riceville area, up towards St. Ansgar, up towards Rose Creek and Adams, Lyle. Again, a large part of Mitchell County and now into Mower County affected by that severe thunderstorm warning. So a lot of different things happening, Sarah. I know it's been a pretty busy evening here for us, tracking all the severe weather, but just want to keep you all informed about what's going on here across, basically affecting the entire area here at different times. We kind of interrupted programming with a tornado warning that was affecting Steele County and parts of Waseca County here earlier, just around 6:45. So we've been on here for quite a while, but it has been a very active evening with potential tornadoes. We've already had some confirmed tornadoes on the ground, and looks like we got an update to that tornado warning.
Yes. this one for the south is in North Iowa here. You can see that bigger box there. So it hasn't extended further to the east, but it has extended further to the south.
Yeah, so they've expanded the box a little bit. So it does still include the city of Northwood there. And going back down here, you can kind of still see there is some rotation, and we're kind of getting a little bit further away from the radar. But watching that area here, now south and kind of around the city of Northwood, there's again a couple different spots, but I think the strongest part of rotation is there, maybe just south of Northwood, but there is still a rotation in the city itself. So again, if there's not a tornado on the ground right now, there could be a tornado developing here very shortly. So the National Weather Service has decided to extend and expand that tornado warning to encompass a larger part of the northwestern portion of Worth County. This is now just north of Kensett, including Northwood, north of Grafton. But even if you live in those towns or not too far away from that tornado warning, still consider taking your tornado precautions, because should this area of rotation shift a little bit further south, that's going to be getting closer to town. So if you live near or even especially within the tornado warning, please take your tornado safe place or go to your tornado safe place right now as we're watching this tornado warning. Again, with area of rotation there around Northwood, crossing over Highway 65, another area of rotation south of Northwood along Highway 65 and moving towards the east, going to be moving through northeastern portions of Worth County. And it looks like we got a new update to the radar picture. So we have, again, that same area of rotation there, same area of rotation here. So two different spots that we really have to keep a close eye on. And that's likely why the National Weather Service decided to expand it to encompass both of those areas of rotation.
Yep, I've got a few updates here, just some good news for, let's see, we've got the tornado watch that has been across the entire area. It is now canceled for Faribault, Steele, and Waseca counties, but it continues for Freeborn County. Just some updates there. Freeborn County's tornado warning has been expired. Let's see here, just kind of going through the list of some of these updates from the National Weather Service. Malheur County's tornado warning has been canceled. We do have some reports of flash flooding in Austin. The public has reported some street flooding going on. Not surprising, considering how much rain is dropping from these storms. I mean, they're moving fast, but they are definitely on the heavier side when it comes to the rainfall. And yeah, Aaron just popped up the storm reports here just to take a peek at some of this that I was reading there. And I'm a little short because Aaron's much taller than me, so now you know the secret. But anyway, yes, this is the flash flooding that we're seeing reported in Austin when it comes to the street flooding. Just something that we're keeping an eye on, because it's not just the tornado watch. Many of us are under a flood watch as well. Once again, not surprising. We've got these strong storms moving through. Now, these are confirmed tornadoes. This is in Emmons. This is a newer one. Now, we were here when the tornado warning for Emmons went on. We could see the rotation. It was pretty clear there. Several downed trees reported this one. And to be specific, the area of 140th and 670th north of Emmons. And that was reported by, I believe it was some of the public there. So we have that confirmed tornado. We've had confirmed tornadoes here. Some funnel clouds were also spotted. So just another thing that we're keeping an eye on is all of the reports coming through. We've seen plenty of downed tree reports as well, not just from the public, but from these trained spotters who have confirmed these tornadoes as they've gone through their paths, and allowing us to bring up those new tornado warnings to keep an idea. Now, luckily, I'm going to pop off here just to kind of show you some of the other reports that we've seen. Zooming out here as we can see. There we go. All right, so where we've also seen some other confirmed tornadoes, again, kind of showing you these little areas here. Moving there, those are the ones that were near Emmons, where again we saw that report. I think Aaron had clicked on that for us, but this just gives you a better idea of the location. Oh, there it is. Okay, tornado in Conger. Multiple spotters reporting those tornadoes. So it's not just us working in here behind the camera. Obviously, the National Weather Service is working hard too. That's the information that's being sent to us. And boots on the ground. Spotters are fantastic, but as always, got to stay safe out there. And I know we do have meteorologist Travis Clark-Smith. He's at boots on the ground for us here at KIMT. He is out driving around, making sure that we can see what these storms are capable of producing. A little further to the north here, we got Aaron, you popped it onto a thunderstorm wind gust. Not surprised, 58 miles per hour, closing in on that 60 mile per hour mark. Very strong winds. We could just hear it outside of the studio and blowing around the rain. We could see it on our live eyes. That made for some very difficult when it comes to seeing, your viewing. It's just nasty out there. Power line blown down here in Manorville. This was around 7:48, so not too long ago. Oh, roughly an hour here. It's hard to grasp time when you've been on there watching these storms. What do we've got there? Oh, was that damage here to the north?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Around 7:46. So we've had quite a bit of severe weather here, moving through all of southern Minnesota and north Iowa. We're still tracking this, and as we are tracking the severe weather, if we want to toss it out to meteorologist Travis Clark-Smith as we've been watching all the severe weather here moving through the area. Again, we're watching it here on the radar, but we're going to send it out to Travis with a live visual of what's happening with the storms that he's been tracking. Travis, what are you seeing right now?
Hey, Aaron, we are back on Interstate 90. We're currently heading eastbound, just east of Austin. We're still dealing with a lot of heavy rain and lightning, and of course now we've lost the light of the sun, so we don't really have much light to go on now. But we are going to be heading toward Emmons to see what has happened there. But as for right now, we are still dealing with a lot of heavy rain. Earlier when we passed through Austin, we had some ponding on the road. We got off the exit at Highway 218, some very big puddles that we had to drive through to navigate through that. So yeah, there's a lot of that street flooding going on in the Austin area in Moore County. So yeah, still a lot of heavy rain and wind going on in Moore County. Back to you.
Alrighty, thank you, Travis, for that update again. He's been watching the storms here all evening. They're live in the field, and there you can see him there again. If we can bring it back to camera 4 here, as we are tracking the storms, or as we are talking about the radar picture here, as we have a lot of activity happening here. Again, you can see Travis's visual there live. Again, they are driving on the highway and tracking that heavy rainfall and very high winds that are moving through the area right now. So again, this is what we're watching here on the radar picture. Again, we've been talking about here, Sarah, all this severe weather for the last, going on almost 2 hours. It's been an active evening. Again, we've been talking about this here for the last couple of days. We knew this severe threat was going to be happening here with that potential for significant wind gusts and additionally the tornado threat here, and that's what we are seeing now across the area.
Some good news to report. It looks like we're only down to now 1 tornado warning from the 3 or 4 that we had earlier on. So that is a sign that things are getting a little better. That being said, we still have a active tornado warning, and this one here for Worth County. This is the one that we were talking about earlier, that they extended further to the south as opposed to making it go further to the east towards St. Ansgar.
Exactly, when we were watching those 2 different areas of rotation with that storm, and it looks like we're not really seeing, at least with this radar picture, we are starting to still see at least some, there is an area of rotation, there is still some concern. Different radar picture not really showing that, but this is what we're kind of watching here in Worth County, is this whole larger rotation now just to the east of Northwood. So Northwood, this is moving past you, so likely just give you another couple of minutes here as it is still nearby, but a couple more minutes and we'll likely give you the all clear there in Northwood. Kensett, all clear. That area of rotation is just staying to the north. Actually, well, I don't want to say all clear. There is a little bit of some stronger winds there just to the north and west of town. So give it a few more minutes again. If you live further to the north and west, that storm is moving away from you. So northwestern parts of Worth County, things are all clear. Interstate 35 here, where we're starting to see, around Diamond Joe Casino, things are looking a little bit better there. And around the city of Northwood, it looks like that rotation definitely has passed further to the east now. We're kind of between different radar pictures, so that's why you saw the colors changing. But this is what we're watching, where we have the red and the green. That is still a concerning rotation sign there east of, I would say, probably 5, 6, 7 miles now to the east of Northwood, south of Deer Creek, and northwest of Grafton. So this is affecting far northeastern parts of Worth County here. And this would be crossing over. If this holds together, this is going to be crossing into Mitchell County, and this is going to be affecting areas further down, to the east. That includes the city of St. Ansgar. So if you live in St. Ansgar right now, we have that severe thunderstorm warning in effect, but this is a tornado warning that's not too far away. So consider taking your tornado precautions now and going into a basement, lowest level of your home, or interior closet, anything away from windows. That's going to be the safest place if there is a potential tornado developing here in Worth County. Again, this is only just a few miles, probably 5, 6 miles away from the Mitchell County line. And that's going to be crossing as it is moving to the east. So we're tracking that area of rotation. Sarah, if you want to zoom out and look at the overall reflectivity map as we are tracking just this larger complex of storms. Again, now stretching just to the east of Rochester, moving through eastern Olmsted County. This is moving through areas around Eota, St. Charles, very heavy rainfall expected around there. Rochester, looking like we're in the clear now. We had some very heavy rainfall. We had some very high winds. It does look like that is now moving to the south and east of town. Stretching back to the south and west, we still have very heavy rainfall here in Mower County. That tornado warning, as Sarah mentioned, that has been allowed to expire. That rotation that we saw, it's weakened. It weakened really quickly, so that is some good news. And we haven't gotten a confirmation if there was a tornado just yet, but we are going to be watching to see if there was any damage reported in and around areas just east of Austin, between Austin and Dexter is where we had that rotation that was rather strong, one of the strongest rotations that we have seen all night, and could have led to a brief touchdown of a tornado. So we're watching for some updates from the National Weather Service on that storm in Mower County. Again, for now, the rotation has weakened in Mower County as that storm is tracking to the east-southeast and moving into Fillmore County here at the present time. While that's happening, we still have the storm with the tornado warning near the Northwood area in Worth County, and that's moving into Mitchell County with a severe thunderstorm warning here in around Osage, St. Ansgar, and Riceville. Are going to be affecting those areas here in about the next 20 to 30 minutes. So again, a lot of things have been happening here this evening, and we've been tracking it here on KIMT News 3. We are live right now with severe weather coverage here. If you're just joining us this evening, it's been a busy one here for all of us in southern Minnesota and North Iowa as we've been tracking all of this active severe weather. And it looks like we do have a new severe thunderstorm warning that has just been issued. Sarah, if you want to touch on that.
Yes, so it looks like this one's going to be a little further to the north now. Here we go. This one just issued here. This goes until 9:30 p.m. You can see it's another larger box. Let's see here, just kind of including portions of Winona County here, southeastern Olmsted County, southeastern Buffalo County in Wisconsin. So it's covering a wide area, and it's easy to see why. We've got this strong line of red here moving through St. Charles as we speak. St. Charles also included in that severe thunderstorm warning. So the main threats, once again, something we've been seeing. We've already seen reports of near 60-mile-per-hour winds. It does not look like it's any labeled here with hail, which is good news. We haven't seen a lot of hail reports, maybe the possibility of some larger hail here in some of these storms, but haven't seen any confirmed reports there. It has been mainly the wind game, the rain, and of course that tornado threat that we're seeing now a little further to the south. So let's see, this one is moving. I'm just trying to get all this information here. It sends a nice big list of everything for us here. It is moving about 35 miles per hour here, and it's very clear to see on the radar where we're talking about the heaviest of rainfall, where that wind is kind of bowing out, kind of moving a lot of these storms quickly. And that being the case, 35 miles per hour, personally, I think that's actually pretty slow moving for a storm that has such strong winds. It's still fast enough that if it comes over, we're talking probably about 20 to 30 minutes of that strong rain. Kind of happened just about 10, 20 minutes ago here in Rochester. We had that strong line move through. It brought some very strong winds, very heavy rain that made visibility very difficult on anyone who may be driving. So those of us who are now in this new severe thunderstorm warning, that's something to keep in mind. It's not just the fact that we could see some very strong winds. Visibility while on the roads is going to be very difficult, especially in that line of more of this red, heavy rainfall. It is good to report that it's not a tornado warning, but a severe thunderstorm warning could be just as dangerous here, and this covers a very wide swath, like all of the previous severe thunderstorm warnings that we've been seeing so far when it comes to this storm. I am noticing just on the full picture of it, earlier we saw that it was kind of more tightly together as a full system storm, but now we're starting to see maybe little chunks of it break apart. That is good news. When it's a tight line like that, that usually means that you've got very strong line of thunderstorms. That being the case, we still have a very strong line of thunderstorms, but it's just not quite as tight as it was earlier. And I think as it continues to move further to the east, we're going to continue seeing maybe a little bit more weakening. We are still going to be here, of course, as we continue to watch this storm to see if anything does spin up. Definitely not the point where we can say all clear, but those of us who are behind the system now, we're talking Albert Lea, maybe a little pocket here or there of an extra shower, a storm, but as of right now, behind the system, further to the west, pretty clear now. Good news there.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, a lot of places are starting to see that all clear. So some of our larger cities here in the area, even Rochester, we're likely in the all clear as we're seeing the more severe threat shifting further to the east. That includes the area around St. Charles, Winona County as well. To the south and east of Rochester, Preston, that storm's on your doorstep. So this is a severe thunderstorm warning just nearby. The severe thunderstorm warning does not include Preston right now, but we may see that a new warning is issued a little bit further to the south and east to include more of Fillmore County, but we do still have a severe thunderstorm warning also through Mower County. This includes areas near Grand Meadow. This also includes just to the south and east of Dexter, and also stretching down into North Iowa, where we have the severe thunderstorm warning in effect for most of Mitchell County. This includes Osage and St. Ansgar, and then also the more immediate concern with that one tornado warning that we still have in effect for Worth County. And Sarah, if you want to zoom in and switch over to the radar picture, or the velocity picture, I should say, just to see if we've gotten any newer scans with that, if we still even have as much rotation. And it looks like it's really kind of fallen apart. I mean, there's still some, maybe right in there, but it's definitely not as strong as what it was just a short while ago. We're still maybe seeing some rotation here along the Mitchell County line, Mitchell and Worth County. They're right around Highway 105, but definitely not as strong of rotation that we saw, just even in the last 10 minutes. So that's a good sign. That's an indication that this storm may be weakening. It also may be shifting to that threat for those higher wind gusts. We're starting to see maybe a little bit more winds gusting out of the storm as compared to the winds flowing into the storm, giving us that rotation. But there is still some right there. Again, this is on the Mitchell and Worth County line, so crossing over into Mitchell County, getting closer to St. Ansgar, only, 5 miles away, less than that even, maybe just northwest of St. Ansgar right now. So that is going to be the concern. We do not have a tornado warning in effect for Mitchell County. We have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect, but we are going to have to watch that area of rotation should the National Weather Service decide to extend that tornado warning a little bit further to the south and east and impacting areas in Mitchell County. But right now we have that severe thunderstorm warning that is in effect as we continue to track that area of rotation again there just north and west of St. Ansgar. So a lot of things happening. Again, if you're just joining us now, this time is now 8:46 here on our Monday evening. We've been on with this for the last 2 hours. It's been an active evening all across the area. I know a few of us may have not been impacted quite yet by any severe weather. Mason City, Clear Lake, it's kind of been a little bit quiet. We've been watching the storms just to our north of Mason City and seeing a lot of lightning just north of Mason City and around the Mitchell County area, around St. Ansgar and Osage. And still watching that whole storm moving from Worth County and still affecting parts of Worth County with that tornado warning, but we may actually end up seeing the tornado warning allowed to expire. As we are talking about that tornado warning, we just got a new tornado warning issued here for parts of Mower County. This includes southeastern Mower County and western portions of Fillmore County. So again, it's just all, things are really evolving. Things are changing so quickly that we have to stay on top of it and stay with this severe weather that we've been tracking. So I know a lot of you may be wanting to watch your show that you normally watch at this time, but because we have such serious weather that could be impacting people and impacting different communities here, we have to stay on with this and track these potential tornadoes that are developing. So this is a brand new tornado warning that was just issued here in the last minute by the National Weather Service, including southeastern Mower County. So this includes areas around Adams, Teope, areas around Ostrander, Spring Valley, and even going over towards parts of Fillmore County, so southwestern Fillmore County, so south and west of Preston, and moving towards the east. And we're watching just these couple of areas here within the storm. Again, this is going to be rain-wrapped rotation, so if there's a tornado, it's wrapped up in rain, and you're not going to be able to see anything coming. So take your tornado safety precautions now. Go to a basement, the lowest level of your home, if you live in any areas in this tornado warning. That even includes Spring Valley. I know you're kind of on the border of the tornado warning, but Spring Valley, I would say, take your safety precautions now. Ostrander, Leroy, even just east of Adams, Teope, just along the highway there, take your safety precautions now as we're tracking an area of rotation where we have the blue and a little bit of the red there, but also here to the north, a couple different spots that we have to watch there, just moving towards Bennington, east of Clayton there. So this is that one spot of rotation, but it looks like there could be another spot of rotation here just to the south. Kind of like what we were talking about with that storm in Worth County. We had a couple different spots that we had to watch, and this is also what we're getting here in Mower County. And really the more concerning rotation is this one here between Clayton and Bennington. This is going to be crossing 740th Avenue in Mower County, getting closer to County Road 3. So County Road 3 just south of Bennington there, basically on the border or at the intersection of County Road 3 and 740th Avenue. So if you live in areas around there between Clayton and Bennington, that's where we have a potential tornado developing right now. We haven't gotten confirmation just yet, but at least on radar here, we are seeing some rotation within that thunderstorm. Again, this is wrapped up in rain, so this ain't a situation where if you live in Mower County where you're going to go outside on your porch and see a tornado, you need to be in your safe place right now, as this tornado would, if it's developing, it would be wrapped in rain, and you're not going to be able to see anything coming with anything that's developing in Mower County. And again, as we're watching that area of rotation, as we're tracking that moving towards the east, that would take it between Spring Valley and Bloomfield. So anywhere along US Highway 63 also included in that tornado warning. And then even further downstream, south of Fillmore, getting closer to Preston and eventually other parts of southern Fillmore County, such as Lanesboro and Fountain, as we're tracking all this area of rotation. So watching this area too, looks like that part is a little bit stronger there, Sarah. If you want to mention that, if you want to talk about that for a moment here, as it's crossing, looks like it just crossed over Minnesota 56.
Yeah, so I'm kind of reading a little bit here from the National Weather Service once again about this particular one. Obviously, there's two different points of rotation that I think the National Weather Service is looking at here, which is why it is such a large box. In this one, it's talking specifically about the dangerous storm being near Leroy around 8:50. So I'm thinking that they're maybe thinking that's the area, maybe that's the tighter rotation there. Obviously, we're not in direct contact with them right now, but this is not, once again, not a confirmed tornado on the ground. This is radar indicated, as we could see from the velocity showing that rotation, the two different locations of that. Different things to note that, let's see, other locations impacted. Let's see, what is it? Louise State Park, Etna, York, Teope, as Aaron mentioned, Cherry Grove, County Roads 4 and 3, and Ostrander. So once again, it's kind of a big area that they've put in here because it is radar indicated. This is more based on the storm, which is moving 40 miles per hour to the east. So it's given a little kind of room there, regardless of where you are, even if you're in the very corners. We're talking, let me see if I can point it out, the very corners of the area. You are still under a tornado warning. You still need to go to your safe space. We're talking interior of your home. Get away from the windows. Get as low as you can, whether that be a basement or the first floor. If a bathroom is a great place, a closet is a great place, close the door, grab your pets, and grab your phone, grab your weather radio, grab a way that you can stay informed when it comes to all of this. We talked about how a lot of these storms maybe looked like they were hopefully on the weakening side, but here we go, a brand new tornado warning popping up, some more rotation being found. So it could just flare up just like that, and that's why we're here, and we've been here since 6:45, roughly.
Yeah, very busy evening here for the last couple of hours, tracking all of these tornado warnings and tracking these severe thunderstorm warnings here for the last couple of hours, as we've just had so much active weather happening in southern Minnesota and north Iowa. And as we talk about the radar picture here, as we have just what's happening here at the present time, again, a few of us haven't been impacted really all that much, and I know that includes Mason City, Clear Lake. We have the storm just to the north and east. It's getting a little bit closer, but maybe affecting areas near and northeast of Mason City there in northeastern parts of Cerro Gordo County. Severe thunderstorm warning includes Mitchell County. That tornado warning that we had in effect for Worth County has been allowed to expire, so again, that is good news. So Northwood, you are in the all clear. Kensett, all clear. Albert Lea, all clear. Austin, you're in the all clear as well, as the storms are now moving further to the south and east. But if you live near Manly, again, the storm is still kind of around. There's still a bit of some heavier rainfall. It is moving just east of Manly now, affecting places like Grafton, and more so in Mitchell County, Osage, St. Ansgar, even over towards Riceville, now getting some of the more moderate rain, heavy rain in Osage, stretching up to St. Ansgar, but the tornado threat, it does look like that has diminished. That rotation that we were watching, not as pronounced as what we saw, even just 20 minutes ago. So rotation weakening, that is a good sign. But while that's happening on that storm, we still have rotation here on this storm southwest of Spring Valley, and that is why we have that newer tornado warning that has been issued here for southeastern Mower County. So again, that's including areas around just east of Adams, Teope, Leroy. This is also stretching into southwestern Fillmore County, affecting areas around Spring Valley and just south of there. And it looks like we got a newer severe thunderstorm warning issued to encompass pretty much all of Fillmore County, as we have this storm producing some very high wind gusts over 60 miles per hour, but with that more smaller area of some rotation that could be producing a tornado. But while the tornado may be a little bit on the smaller side with that area of rotation there, we're still looking at larger scale areas of high winds that could knock down some trees, knock out power lines. So they are still very concerning thing with these warnings that we are watching here in southern Minnesota and north Iowa. We talk about tornado warnings all the time. Tornadoes obviously a very serious threat. But even severe thunderstorm warnings should be treated the same, because they can still knock down trees that can, fall on cars, fall on houses. They are still a significant threat, and you should treat them the same way as we have severe thunderstorm warnings that are producing these storms, producing wind gusts that have already been recorded over 60 miles per hour. We've gotten reports of wind gusts up to 58 miles per hour around Dodge Center. We had some trees knocked down in different parts of southern Minnesota. We also had some trees knocked down and power lines knocked down around the Emmons, just north of Emmons, from a confirmed tornado. So there has been a lot of stuff happening across the area and still happening at the present time. And so as we focus more in on this tornado warning near Spring Valley, again, this storm is moving to the east, affecting areas right around Spring Valley, Bloomfield, Leroy, and where we have the rotation, well, still some west of Bloomfield, but it looks like maybe the stronger area of rotation, at least some stronger winds there with that brighter blue right around Leroy, around Minnesota 56. So that is southeast of Adams, southeast of Teope, near Leroy, and that's going to be crossing over from Minnesota 56, getting closer to US Highway 63 here. So this is US 63 from Lime Springs there, just kind of on the edge of the screen there, stretching up towards Spring Valley. So if we have any potential rotation, it would be right in there or even around the Ostrander area where we have a little bit more of that red and green kind of showing up. It's not strong, so that's also good news. And it's kind of, you can kind of draw a line here where we have that. So this might also be that situation where we have more of those winds kind of blowing out from the storm and maybe changing over from that threat of a tornado to a threat for some higher wind gusts, which is why, Sarah, if you want to switch it over to just the warnings, kind of looking at just the warnings that we have, this one tornado warning that we have in effect is kind of embedded within the severe thunderstorm warnings across the area. So you can kind of see it right there. So you have severe thunderstorm warnings for the significant wind, but then we have that tornado warning for that smaller area of rotation that is crossing from Mower County into Fillmore County, so south of Spring Valley, crossing over US Highway 63. So there still are a lot of different things happening, and again, we're going to continue to follow this. Once we do see that tornado threat diminish, we eventually will get you back to regular programming here. I know the time is coming up just about 9 o'clock here, 3 minutes till 9. So we may be able to get you back to that, but as we're still following all of the severe weather, we want to talk about everyone that's being impacted so that everyone has a heads up of the significant weather that is going to be moving into their communities, because while some of us may be in the all clear, others are still getting impacted by potential severe weather. And that includes now a newer severe thunderstorm warning here that is in effect. This includes many of our counties here in North Iowa. Again, still almost all of Mitchell County, including the city of Osage there, up to St. Ansgar, over to Riceville. This also includes a good portion of Howard County, west of Cresco. Elma also included in that. Lime Springs, Riceville, you can see it there on the map. Starting to get some more moderate rainfall into Riceville, and then Deerfield and northwestern parts of Chickasaw County, so just northwest of New Hampton, and then northern Floyd County. So severe thunderstorm warning does not include the city of Charles City right now, but this also does include Floyd and northern parts of Floyd County, I should say, just north of Charles City here at the present time. Getting a lot of heavy rainfall now in Osage. I know the Mitchell County Fair just wrapped up here yesterday, so that's good news, because this would obviously be impacting that if that was still happening today. But we are getting some very heavy rainfall, torrential rainfall now in the city of Osage, and still some very high wind gusts, likely getting closer, if not exceeding 50, maybe even upwards of 60 miles per hour. And that's why we do have that severe thunderstorm warning that is still in effect here for Mitchell County. Again, this is going to be going for another, I would say, probably another 20 minutes or so around Osage. Eventually, we're going to see that moving through, and Osage will give you the all clear. Again, we have that all clear for Northwood with that tornado warning being allowed to expire. Manly, looks like still maybe a little shower nearby, but that's pretty much moving away. The severe threat is over for Manly. Mason City, we haven't had really any severe weather. We've had some storms obviously nearby, just to our north and east. We do have some showers developing to the north and west of town near Clear Lake and back near Garner. Nothing severe with that. Some brief heavy downpours are possible, but it is looking like Mason City, we may just dodge the severe threat here for tonight. So good news for Mason City and Clear Lake. It looks like this may stay just away from us, but still affecting our neighbors to the east here in Osage. And now it looks like this storm, Sarah, if you kind of watch the trend here, it looks like the storm might be sinking a little bit more south of east.
It looks like it wants to, and
Yeah.
that's what I was wondering, Charles City not being included in this warning. I wonder if they will extend it slightly to the south. It looks like that the storm itself is moving southeast at 30 miles per hour here with this brand new severe thunderstorm warning. This one also coming with a threat for nickel-sized hail. We haven't been talking a lot about hail.
The smaller hail, but still something to keep an eye on.
Yep. Yeah, and I think that's great news. A lot of these, we did have that risk for some hail with a lot of these storms earlier in the day. We saw, so it's been nice to not see that there haven't been any reports of that yet. Of course, we still have everything will roll in as we go through the night, and a lot of these storms move away. But most of the threats have been the stronger winds and the tornadoes.
Yeah, exactly. And, like we've been kind of talking about here, as we're watching that storm, you can see the polygon here. This is what we refer to, just the shape of the warning, has been extended here into Howard County and Chickasaw County. But as we're watching I think this is over the last hour or so. Yeah, this is the last hour of the radar picture here. There has been this southward motion, especially if you look on the backside of that storm. So this actually may move a little bit further south into more of Floyd County. So Charles City, you're not in the warning right now, but I would keep an eye on this storm. This is kind of sinking a little bit further south of east. So giving you the heads up a little bit early here in Charles City, I would just, stay inside, get away from windows in case there is a bit of lightning moving in and those strong winds that are going to be moving into the city of Charles City here and Floyd in the next short while. And yeah, look at that. Sarah, thank you for that. Turning on the lighting, you can see so much electricity. There's so much static in the atmosphere that we do see typically around, summertime. We have so much humidity when those dew points are so high up in the 70s like they have been today. That just gives so much energy, so much static charge in the atmosphere. And this is what we get. We get so much lightning within a thunderstorm. And I mean, we're talking about just a lot of electricity here over Mitchell County. So if you're in Mason City, there's even still some lightning nearby, as we are still seeing a couple lightning strikes just away from the thunderstorm. But kind of looking at that, if you were out and about, and you likely saw a pretty big light show to your north, especially when that storm was a little bit further to the north and west around Northwood, looking to the north from Mason City. But now still producing a lot of lightning as it's moving over Osage, moving into northern Floyd County here. Going to be affecting areas also near Norris Springs. Norris Springs over towards Floyd and Charles City. Again, this is a severe thunderstorm warning that includes areas along and north of US Highway 18. But since it is moving a little bit further south, we may see this severe thunderstorm warning extended to include more of Floyd County here, should that trend continue. And it's something we'll have to watch over the next couple of radar scans in the next 5 to 10 minutes. But if we start to see more of that red a little bit further south, we likely will see an extension of that warning. But again, this still does include northwestern parts of Chickasaw County and much of Howard County with a severe thunderstorm warning. And again, while that's still happening, we still have to talk about the tornado warning. We're kind of going back and forth between all that's happening here, but that tornado warning is still in effect. Looks like it is now moving from Mower County now into Fillmore County. And also a lot of lightning with that storm, very heavy rainfall. So should there be a tornado with this storm, it is going to be wrapped in rain. So when you look at all the red here and even that darker green, the yellow, the orange, there's a lot of heavy rainfall coming down with this storm right on top of where we would see that area of rotation. So Sarah, if you want to switch it over to the velocity picture here, and basically right over where we had that red. So the heaviest rain is over top of the area of rotation. So that is a clear indication that if there is a tornado, it is wrapped in rain. It is right over Beaver, north of Chester. If you live in Chester, you are, that is just across the border, but I would still think about taking your tornado precautions now because that rotation is really close to town, about to cross over the highway here in less than 5 minutes. So this is over US Highway 63 and over Minnesota Highway 44. Again, right over Beaver where we have the red kind of embedded. It's kind of encircled by the green, so winds blowing in different directions, giving that rotation here right around the city of Beaver. So again, Beaver, north and west of Chester, this is going to be crossing US Highway 63 in less than 5 minutes. So take your safe place, go to your safe place, take your precautions. Again, lowest level of your home, away from windows, just wait it out because it's going to be moving pretty quickly. Again, these storms are moving at about 30 to up to near 40 miles per hour as they have merged more into that line, so they have picked up a little bit more speed than they were earlier today when they were only moving at 20 miles per hour. So picking up more speed, one indication of it's good that it's moving through quicker because that means less heavy rainfall, less high winds that could knock down the trees, but one reason it's also bad, it's picking more speed, it's also moving faster, so there's more wind kind of blowing with it. So it's kind of the situation, good and bad, lower tornado threat, but higher threat for high winds that are affecting a larger part of our area. So a lot of things to watch. And also there's the newest scan. And Sarah, if you want to pan down just a little bit further, right there, you can see this bright blue right over Chester. This is a very high wind gust, and it's kind of hard to tell with this type of situation because we are kind of far away from the actual radar site. This is located in La Crosse. So we're looking at the radar beam, but it goes a little bit above the ground. So we're kind of looking at several thousand feet up into the storm. So we are looking at an indication where there's very high winds in the storm, but are they making its way to the ground? That's the question. Likely some of them, some of those winds are, and we have that severe thunderstorm warning that is in effect for that potential of damaging wind gusts that could knock down some trees, even knock down power lines. So some places could be losing power. And if we have a chance, anyone back in studio control, if we have any power outages, I'm not sure if anyone has the map pulled up, but we can take that whenever it is ready. If we don't have any power outages, that is good news, but we are watching that here as well. And if we do get any power outages, we will let you know what is happening here in southern Minnesota and North Iowa, because as I mentioned here just a few minutes ago, there's so much lightning, there's so much static, and there you go, we were just talking about it. This is a new tornado warning now. You just saw the red line pop up there on the map, so this does include now the city of Chester, because we saw that area of rotation kind of crossing the border from Minnesota into North Iowa here. So this is basically over US Highway 63. This tornado warning does include Lime Springs. This also includes Chester. Chester, this is basically right on top of you right now. So you need to be in your safe place right now. There's no time. If there's a tornado on the ground, it is moving into the town of Chester right now. Again, that rotation, Sarah, if you want to zoom in just a little bit closer, there you go. You can see where the red and brighter blue, that is a clear indication, maybe a little bit weakening there with that latest scan. So we're kind of, we have times when the rotation's very strong and may produce a tornado, and then it sort of weakens. But even if it's not producing a tornado, it is still producing some very high wind gusts. These are some indications where we have that blue. Notice here on the legend, this is kind of the weakest of the winds, but the further away you get, that's a little bit stronger winds. So we are talking about winds gusting upwards of 60 miles per hour, and that can knock down some trees, knock out power in parts of North Iowa. So that is also going to be a concern in addition to that potential tornado, should there be one developing right around Chester in northern parts of the county here. Again, this is moving from Fillmore County, and if we look at that, moving that area of rotation around Beaver, still watching that one as well in southern parts of Fillmore County. So this is moving basically right on Highway 63 is where these two pockets of rotation. So we have two different ones right over Chester, and then one just to the east of Beaver that we're keeping a very close eye on. That's why we have two, basically all the same tornado warning, but two separate areas that we have to keep a close eye on. One tracking along Minnesota Highway 44, and this other one going to be moving to the south and east here along US Highway 63. So from Chester to Lime Springs is going to be the very area that we're watching here, kind of the concerning spot for a potential tornado. Sarah, I don't know if you've seen anything with that one. We've been kind of watching this here all day. Sarah's been behind the scenes and also here on camera. Talk about the severe weather threat. She's also been monitoring the National Weather Service page about any newer reports that we've been getting in. But Sarah, have you seen anything?
Not necessarily when it comes to anything new other than this brand new tornado warning here, kind of the same details that we were getting from the previous one. This is not confirmed. This is radar indicated, which means the radar's picking up on that rotation that Aaron was pointing out here in the multiple different spots. And that is enough for the National Weather Service to say, hey, this could be rotation on the ground. Let's throw out that warning. The hazard is still, of course, tornado, the strong winds that come with this, and the fact that they're moving is all part of that larger storm system. So it's moving a little quick. It's moving around 45 to 55 miles per hour. I saw 55 pop up on one of these here, I think the one in southeastern Minnesota. So it's all part of that system. That doesn't necessarily mean the rotation is moving quite as quickly, but it does mean that it is all moving eastward to the southeast. as we continue to keep an eye on this. Fortunately, it's in just a rough spot where we have the different radar sites kind of coming together, so it's far away from all of our different radar sites. It's very hard to get that real fine detail, but there is clearly enough here on the velocity tracker to show that there is definitely rotation happening, and it's worthy enough to put out one of these warnings. Once again, they're going until 9:15, 9:10 here. I think this one, nope, 9:30 here for this newest one, that includes Lime Springs and Cresco. So that one will be in effect for the next, let's see, it's about 9:11 now. So here we've got almost 20 more minutes of watching this warning as we continue to keep an eye on that potential for the two different areas of rotation. It'll be interesting to see if the warning in southern Minnesota keeps up, because I think it just seems to be getting a little bit, I don't know if it's stronger, it's difficult to tell. It's been looking very similar here just east of Beaver over the last couple scans, but it's very clear that there is some rotation there. It's just a matter of, is it in the ground? Is it higher in the storm? It's something very difficult to watch, but that's why we have the warnings go out.
Exactly. I mean, it's still a very, concerning situation that we could be talking about that tornado, potentially developing. Even if we have rotation higher up into the storm, there is still potential that rotation can still make its way to the ground, becoming a tornado. Is that happening right now? We don't have confirmation of that. That's usually, we rely on spotters, anyone that may have had damage, reports like that. Right now, based on what we have here on radar, it looks like that rotation is kind of weakening. There is still some rotation because we have that red and some of the green, but notice how they're a little bit more separated. We're not seeing that very compact, tighter rotation. That is a good sign, and that's something that's been happening. These storms kind of have been cycling. They've been producing more wind, and then they kind of spin up a little bit, and there's a little bit more rotation, and then it's kind of just this back and forth, and that's what's been happening here all evening. So we've had confirmed tornadoes around south and west of Albert Lea in parts of Freeborn County. Around Emmons, there was a confirmed tornado. We've also had a lot of wind damage with some trees knocked down, some power lines knocked down. We've also been watching just all of these storms producing even very heavy rainfall. We had a report of some street flooding in Austin, in the city of Austin, and also here's a look at what's happened earlier today. So we haven't seen a lot more reports as the storms have been moving further to the south and east, but we did have confirmed tornadoes near and north of Emmons. We had a funnel cloud reported west of Albert Lea. We had a tornado confirmed near Alden. We had some wind damage around Barber. We had just a lot of different things happening with those two different storms. Again, we were tracking these since they were moving from Mankato and over around St. James, where we had a confirmed tornado north of St. James earlier this evening around 5:30. So these storms have been going for several hours, producing high wind gusts, and again, several tornadoes that were confirmed earlier this evening, and now we're still tracking them, building in further to the south and east across North Iowa and southeast Minnesota. So we're still watching the severe thunderstorm here in northern parts of Floyd County, getting closer to the city of Charles City with likely some very heavy rainfall and perhaps some high wind gusts up over 50 miles per hour, maybe even as high as 60 miles per hour. That's why we have this severe thunderstorm warning in effect, moving from Osage down towards near and north of Charles City and into Chickasaw County. Excuse me, this is going to be affecting areas near Charles City and eventually affecting parts of New Hampton, areas in Chickasaw County near New Hampton with that storm. And then while that's happening, we are still tracking that tornado warning. It looks like they did allow the other one to expire, so that's good news. We had that tornado warning. We were just talking about that little area of rotation that's been kind of weakening here. So the National Weather Service did allow the tornado warning in Fillmore County to be expired. So we still have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Fillmore County as we're looking at potential for wind gusts over 60 miles per hour. But now the only tornado warning that we have in effect here is for northern Howard County. Excuse me. This is going from around just near Chester again and moving towards the Cresco area. If we have rotation, this is going to be right around Lime Springs where we have some of that red showing up there. That's the heavier rain kind of, we got some inflow into the storm here. There's sort of a little bit of a hook shape to it. It's not as pronounced as we sometimes see with those bigger storms. This is a line of storms, so it's a little bit different type of setup. But Sarah, if you want to switch it to the velocity picture and just see if we have a little bit, kind of right in there around Lime Springs, we have a little bit of some rotation. Now, we're not really seeing the red. We're not really seeing a lot of that showing up there. It's kind of weaker on one side, but stronger on the other side with these, higher winds with the blue. So we are likely getting some very high wind gusts, over 50, over 60 miles per hour. So we also have that severe thunderstorm warning in effect. But it does look like maybe we are starting to see that area of rotation weakening a tad, and this tornado warning may be allowed to expire. Sarah, if we can switch it, we may have to zoom out a little bit and kind of move over to look at one of the different radar sites just to see how the picture changes when we move over to a different radar picture. Because right now we're looking at the radar out of La Crosse, and if we move it over to the south and west, we may actually see what's the radar picture looking out of Des Moines. I know it's going to be kind of hard to do that here, but it's just so far away from the radar site that we're not getting the best picture of what's happening. But in any case, it does look like the rotation is on a weakening trend.
There we go.
And that is definitely some good news. So again, this is the area we're watching right in there. So there some, but it's not strong. So that's good news. The rotation is starting to weaken. So we may see that tornado warning also allowed to expire. But we're going to keep an eye on it. Again, if you live in northern parts of Howard County, you live around Chester, Lime Springs, if you live in Cresco, you should be taking your tornado precautions right now. Go to your safe place, lowest level of your home, a basement. If you don't have a basement, just go to the most interior part, the center part of your house, away from windows, just closet, bathroom, anything that doesn't have any windows. That's going to be your safest place should a tornado be moving in. Based on indications right now, we're starting to see that rotation weakening, so that is a good sign. There's no all clear yet for the tornado warning, but if that does happen, if we see that allowed to expire, we, of course, will give you the all clear as we continue to follow this. So, Sarah, if you want to switch back to the reflectivity here, looking at how much rain is falling, the heaviest rain across North Iowa here. So again, all clear for severe weather. Going to give you the all clear here in Lake Mills. Going to give you the all clear in Austin, Albert Lea. We've already given the all clear around St. Ansgar. Osage, it looks like the storm is now moving a little bit further to the south. It is still affecting areas nearby. Mason City, we're starting to get a little bit of rain. We're not talking about severe weather. I think the severe weather is going to stay to our east of Mason City, east of Clear Lake. It is near Charles City. Again, that severe thunderstorm warning that we have in effect for northern Floyd County, southeastern Mitchell County. Again, Osage starting to get on the backside of the storm, so we're likely still getting some very heavy rainfall here into Osage. But if you just go north of town, going up north to Stacyville area, things are all good up there, but still some moderate rain around Riceville, heavier rain now into Elma, and starting to get some heavier rain now into downtown Charles City. So looks like that storm may be pushing a little bit further to the south, and we're going to have to watch to see if we get an extension of this severe thunderstorm warning, including parts of Charles City and New Hampton. But right now, the severe thunderstorm warning for winds up to 60 miles per hour, that would be affecting areas around Floyd, southern parts of Mitchell County, so south and east of Osage here, near Elma, southwestern Howard County. So we have two different things happening in Howard County. We have severe thunderstorm warning with winds gusting up to 60 miles per hour. We also have the tornado warning in northern Howard County. So if you live in southern Howard County, there is not a tornado warning in effect. There is a severe thunderstorm warning around Elma up to Riceville here on the border of Howard and Mitchell County. And then further to the north, again, that tornado warning that in fact includes areas around Cresco, back towards Lime Springs. Then as we go into southern Minnesota, we have another severe thunderstorm warning. This includes Harmony and Preston. This is in Fillmore County, so central and eastern parts of Fillmore County. This is going to be moving into Houston County, already moving through Winona County up to the city of Winona, getting some very heavy rainfall here into the city. And something to kind of note here is if you look at the red, notice this sort of bow shape right in there. So we might actually have some higher winds gusting into the storm, the outflow kind of pushing out, producing those more significant winds. And that's why we have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Winona County, near and south of the city of Winona. So this is going to be moving towards the La Crosse, La Crescent area, and also that whole line stretching down through Rushford, stretching down through Harmony, getting some very heavy rainfall in Harmony and Preston over towards York, Mabel, Canton, over towards, up to Rushford here. And this is going to be crossing over from Fillmore County into Houston County. And it's this line right here where we have that higher threat for some winds gusting over 60 miles per hour. So if you're watching us in Caledonia, it's coming your way next. So get ready for, up to 60 mile per hour wind gusts. So I would be in a safe place right now. And there is still potential that we could see a couple spin-ups and may actually get more tornado warnings issued here as we go through the course of this evening. And Sarah, if you can switch it to the velocity picture right in here, just south of Rushford, kind of watching that spot. Okay, so there might not be a lot of rotation with that. It looked a little interesting on the reflectivity picture there, but it could be something that we'll have to watch as it crosses the border from Fillmore into Houston County if we start to see a little bit more rotation developing. But right now, just looking at a threat for some higher wind gusts. Sarah, have you seen anything else from the Weather Service?
Not necessarily, no. It's been,
Okay.
I would say quiet, but obviously not so much because we have such large areas currently under these warnings. They don't need to keep sending out these updates. There's some good news though. The tornado watch that many of us were under, it has been canceled for Dodge, Mower, Olmsted counties.
Yep, good news.
Yeah, but some of us still remain under that, including Floyd, Mitchell, Winneshiek, Fillmore counties, Houston counties. So there's still plenty that this storm has to give. Fingers crossed that we don't necessarily see any more spin-ups. Keeping an eye here on this current tornado warning that we're seeing. We can see once again, it's so difficult. There's a little bit of that rotation, but it looks a bit messier than what we would normally see.
100%. It's a very messy rotation. There's a couple pockets here and there. It's just not what we're really looking for to see if there's actually a tornado developing or even a tornado on the ground at the present time. There has been maybe a little bit of an increase here on the northern side of that tornado warning. So right along the border of Howard County and Fillmore County, so where we have that red and the blue kind of showing up next to each other there, northeast of Lime Springs, south and west of Granger. This is going to be where we could be talking about a tornado developing if there's not already maybe a circulation or even a possible funnel cloud. But again, it's all wrapped in rain. You're not going to be able to see anything if there is something happening right now. This is what the radar picture is showing us. This is all we can see. Again, it's also after 9 o'clock, so it's also dark out. We aren't going to be really able to see anything. One, it's dark. Two, it's wrapped in rain. You're not going to be able to see. We won't really know if there's actually a tornado on the ground until after it passes and if there's any damage. But based on the indication that we see on radar, this is a stronger signature where we have the red and especially that darker blue here. These are higher winds kind of blowing into the red. So we got, a little bit more rotation here. It's kind of small, but there is rotation here in northern Howard County. And that's why we still have that tornado warning in effect. I believe this tornado warning goes until 9:30.
9:30, yep.
So another 6 minutes. So we're going to have to watch the radar scans here in the next 6 minutes to see what happens as it gets a little bit further to the east. Again, looks like the strongest rotation is going to stay to the north of Cresco, kind of hovering along just south, maybe a mile or two south of the Minnesota-Iowa border here in Howard and Fillmore counties. So again, there you go, another scan, and maybe a little bit more of an increase here back to the west. So kind of a couple pockets there. Again, there's this one that we just talked about, and this one further and back. So it's kind of the same larger scale rotation in the storm, but there's just a couple different pockets that we kind of have to watch here if there's any tornado developing. Again, this is all based on the radar. This is one of the radar products that we use a lot here. If you've watched tornado coverage, whether it's here in Minnesota and Iowa or another part of the country, you hear them talk about the velocity, you hear them talk about the red and the green kind of next to each other. This is what we're seeing. We're seeing this little pocket of rotation here within the larger scale rotation here within the entire thunderstorm. And it's these spots right here that would be capable of producing funnel clouds or even a tornado should that be the case. And again, this is along the border, this darker white line here, this is the state line, Minnesota and Iowa here between Howard and Fillmore counties. Howard County, Iowa, Fillmore County, Minnesota. So just south of York, Minnesota, northwest of Cresco, Iowa, northeast of Lime Springs, Iowa, where we have a couple different areas of rotation that we are currently watching. So again, time is now just 9:26. If you've been just joining us, if you've been out and about doing stuff this evening and just getting back home, watching TV, watching the severe weather coverage, we've been live with this here for just over 2 hours, 2.5 hours now, as we've been tracking all of these storms moving and affecting many of us. These have moved through Rochester, they've moved through Austin, Albert Lea, Mason City. We're now just getting some rain. We haven't really had any severe weather, and it's all been to our north and to our east, but Mason City, we're getting some heavier downpours there in the city itself. And Charles City, that storm, again, is pretty much on your doorstep, getting some moderate rain into the city now. Strongest part of the storm, north of Charles City, but it is moving a little bit further to the south, so we'll have to watch to see if we get a warning extended. There also may be an indication that the winds aren't as strong. They might not be up near 60 miles per hour, so we might be seeing some weakening with the storm. But even if it weakens, it's still producing a lot of heavy rainfall that could be leading to some localized flash flooding here if we see that starting to move into more of the Charles City area itself. And also going to be affecting Chickasaw County. Again, severe thunderstorm warning here in northwestern Chickasaw County, and still extending over into Howard County, at least the southern part of Howard County. Meanwhile, we have that tornado warning still up to the north. So yeah,
So much.
take a little breath. It's been a busy evening here in the Weather Center here, all across North Iowa and southern Minnesota. Again, we've just been tracking it here. I know a lot of us want to watch programming that's on right now, but unfortunately, because we have critical weather information, we have to relay that information to everyone that is impacted by these storms, and especially anyone that's in a tornado warning right now, including areas near and now probably just to the east of Lime Springs. It looks like the strongest part of the storm now moving east of Lime Springs. Again, kind of hovering along the border of Minnesota and Iowa, where we have that strongest rotation, and now north of Cresco here. Sarah, if you want to switch it over to velocity one more time, get the latest scan here and see if we have, okay, so we do still have at least some rotation here within that storm. And it looks like, it's still kind of along the border there of Minnesota and Iowa. Again, right there, it's not as strong, I would say.
Yeah, it looks like it's spread out just a little bit more here. It's still concerning.
Yeah.
Still definitely worth watching. Now, this particular warning goes until 9:30, so we've got about a minute here to see if the National Weather Service decides to pull the warning or extend it. So we'll be kind of watching that very closely here, and I'm sure they're trying to make that decision right now.
Yeah, I'm sure they are. I mean, even looking at this velocity picture here,
Got a little more messy there.
It's still messy. So, and I mean, since we haven't gotten a confirmation of a tornado, I mean, it's hard to say what they're going to do here, because again, there is still some broad rotation, a little bit more larger scale rotation, but it's as Sarah mentioned, it's kind of messy. So we have to watch it, of course. And again, even if it's not producing a tornado in here, this brighter blue, those are some pretty high wind gusts. I mean, we could be talking about winds gusting over 60 miles per hour here now, just to the east of Lime Springs, likely getting some higher wind gusts in Cresco now as well, in addition to some heavier rainfall moving into the area. Looks like they did drop it. Okay.
Yeah,
But expired at least, but we'll see. Have to see if they issue another one.
Yeah, we'll give it a couple more minutes here to see what they decide, because we're also saying, I was noticing a little bit right here. I'll use my little pointer tool, kind of show it off here behind the camera. Kind of noticing this little area here. Once again, a little concerning, but not necessarily confirming.